Yeah, baby food for the first time today. That was good. That was good to see with the baby.
It's a good milestone.
Yeah.
I just know all the food doesn't look good.
No.
But most of it's not too bad if you actually take a bite of it.
The giant dump that she took afterwards was not great. That was not.
Oh, man.
I had to like immediately just throw her in the tub, dude. It was like not good.
Just a blowout.
Explosion.
It's like you go to pick them up and you realize their shirt's wet and like then their back's wet and you're like, oh my gosh, it's just everywhere.
Yeah, it was an explosion. It was rough.
Well, at least she enjoyed the green beans.
She did. Yeah, it was really good.
Hi, I'm Nick.
And I'm Josh.
And this is the PUDs Podcast. So what's new, buddy?
What's up? What's up, my man? Long time no see.
Yeah, really. Long time no see.
Just kidding.
It's been so long. It's been so long since we recorded.
It was really nice getting back in person and being able to sit face to face with you. It's been too long.
Yeah, I agreed. It was exciting getting to sit down with the Roots guys and be in person. That was the first. I was going to say it's not the first one we did in person because of how our clever podcasting trickery works.
Yeah.
We actually did this next segment that's going to be coming up as the main topic before the last episode that actually aired and didn't air. It was released to the podcasting platforms.
Yeah. This
was the 1960s.
Right. But that one was also in person as well. So I got a couple days in a row with you, which was great.
Yeah, man. It's a fun time. Like you said, it was great to be in person back in Black Cat Studios, recording everything. A little bit more challenge. I mean, it's funny how much I feel like I noticed the echo right away from this room. So, like I said, maybe I kind of adjusted a couple things on our end to try to lessen that. So hopefully it wasn't too noticeable. I feel like most people are probably going to notice.
Yeah.
Really
no, it was really good.
It's all about that content. But I'm always thinking about our listeners, trying to put out the best product.
Yeah.
Try to keep it clean with what we got.
Yeah.
I do have some sound editing pads in here that I'll probably try to throw up one day. They've been sitting in the corner for about 2 months.
Yeah, let me know let me know if you need a hand. I'll get those up there for you.
I will.
Yeah.
So what else is new in the past few days since I've last talked to you?
No, man, I got my driveway seal coated, which has like made a huge difference, dude. Like I couldn't believe when they were done, like how big of a difference and how like crappy my base layer of my driveway was. It was like insane.
Yeah, dude, I can kind of feel you there because we got our driveway done last spring, like around May. And we just had like dirt and gravel. We didn't even have like a base layer or anything like you've got. And I remember forever being like, we've lived here for going on 5 years this year, and being like, we don't really need it paved. And then like once we got it paved, I'm like, the aesthetics of just having,
yeah.
Number one, it just looks better having a nicely paved driveway going down to your house. Most of the time, I'll say at least around here, because all of our neighbors have paved driveways. It's not like it's all like dirt or like rocks and stuff like that. So like we're fitting in with the vibe now, and also just logistically like rolling out your trash recycle barrels.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Nice on pavement. The first time I was doing this, I was just like, oh yeah, this is the stuff.
Because you got like what?
Just a nice smooth roll.
You have like a 300-foot driveway to the.
Yes, something like that.
Yeah. To the curb. There. Yeah, that's wild.
It's a good amount. Nice for blowing snow and shoveling and all that stuff too.
Yeah, for sure.
As opposed to dirt. We used to turn into like dirt and mud, but. Yeah, I definitely feel you on having a nicely paved driveway.
Yeah, man. It was because my driveway was like kicking up like gravel all the time. Like it just wasn't like binded together well. So they did a great job. And like you said, aesthetically, it just made it look better. It's kind of adhered everything together. So there's no stuff kicking up. So, and the owner name is Nelson. He did a phenomenal job. He was there on site doing the work, and he gave me a really, really reasonable price. So I would definitely highly recommend it. They're called Tri-State Asphalt Sealing, and the owner's name is Nelson. We'll probably just add it in the show notes, their information.
Cool. I'll throw that in.
But yeah, they did a great job. So if anybody's thinking of getting their driveway sealed, I would definitely recommend them, and it'll definitely work well with you and give you a really good price. So check them out.
Cool, man. That's great.
Yeah. How about you, man?
And,
What'd you get up to?
Much. I was gonna try to make a segue, but so having a nicely paved driveway is also a great thing when it's all rainy like this and your driveway doesn't turn to mud.
Oh yeah.
Those too. Not like mud, like you're slipping around in the car, but just like tracking mud in the house and stuff.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, we do need the rain. But I've actually been going back and forth with Mike Trokey, and we were planning on doing the Waterville Valley Denali Challenge this weekend. So was doing some researching and thinking what we wanted to do for that. You can find them online if you kind of looked up like Waterville Valley Denali Challenge, but it's kind of a cool idea behind the hiking challenge, and you have to select 5 of this list of peaks in the Waterville Valley area, and you're basically trying to get all the peaks actual elevation to add up to 20,000 feet, which is the elevation of Denali.
Oh wow!
So I thought that was actually kind of a pretty neat idea.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And we're going to try to do it, but unfortunately, it looks like it's going to be pouring like most of Friday through half day Saturday. It basically goes from sort of Friday night into all day Sunday, but Trokey had something Sunday. So we're going to pull an audible with the way the weather looks. I think we might try to work on some of our summer 4,000 footers and maybe check out some waterfalls with all the rain and try to be safe and check out some waterfalls on Friday.
Oh, yeah. So this challenge basically is you need to reach 20,000 feet basically within that weekend?
Not 20,000 hiking feet. That's what I thought at first, like, or 20,000 feet of elevation gain hiking. It's like you hike, so like say like the tri-pyramids are all like around 4,000 feet. So like a hike of North, Middle, and South Tri-Pyramid would be like 12,000 feet. So that goes towards the challenge.
Okay.
So it's still a decent amount of hiking to do within like a weekend. And like I said, they encourage you to check out one of the smaller kind of peaks like Welch Dickey on Friday night. Again, like Welch is around 2,500 or so, and Dickey's around 2,500. So that would be like 5,000 feet towards the challenge.
Okay.
So it's all about trying to sort of like reach that, and you pick from, it's not every single mountain and peak in Waterville Valley, but it's a good chunk of them, like Scar and Jennings Peak and Tecumseh and a few others.
So is it a team or just like basically it's individual?
Individual. I mean, we were planning on hiking together, but it's super low key. Like there's not even an entry fee to do it.
Yeah. Who puts that on?
It's literally like Waterville Valley. Like I think it's through their website and stuff. It's someone you contact through them, and all they do is encourage you, like highly encourage you, I think through email on the website, is to just basically tag the crap out of them on social media and like Waterville Valley Denali Challenge. And I'm sure we'll still swing in and potentially get a t-shirt or something. But yeah, I don't think we're going to try to do, like, we don't even need like a lot of these peaks in the area for our summer seasons or even for like the months. So I think we're going to work on maybe like the Hancocks, which we both need for summer. Hoping that the weather winds down by midday Saturday so we can kind of get out and maybe fight the rain in the morning and not have to deal with any river crossings, at least on the route we found, and still make a good day of it. And we'll see if I get up to anything Sunday, because I'm still going to hang out till then. Maybe I'll try to bang out a quick peak, but TBD. And hopefully with all the rain coming too, no like concerns about flooding and stuff, just in other areas. I do want to be sympathetic of that. Like I'm complaining about the rain, but it looks like they're getting some serious rain in the Carolinas. And potentially Vermont again and stuff. So hope everybody is safe. We do need the rain. I know around here, at least we do, like all the streams and rivers and everything are super low. It's pretty noticeable. Yeah. But hopefully everybody's safe out there.
Yeah. And good luck. Good luck to you guys. I hope it goes well. Look forward to hearing about it, I'm sure, on a future episode.
Thanks. Yeah, we're like I said, we're pulling an audible, and one good thing you can do when there's rainstorms and after rainstorms is check out waterfalls, because they're usually really
rip roaring.
Yeah, usually rip roaring. Obviously, be safe. Don't get too close to them. So
unless you want to go for a swim.
No, we're not. We're definitely not looking to do that. We're not looking to do that.
Oh, man.
So yeah, that should be a good time.
What else is up? Is that it? Anything else?
Yeah, that's about it. Me and Ash did get up to the Flume Slide, and we did Flume and Liberty the other weekend. I know we're kind of going a little bit out of order, I guess, with our time in here, but this was at the end of our not in Portugal week. so Meme Claire, my mom, actually watched Ryland for an overnight, and we snuck up pretty early in the morning and did Flume and Liberty up the terrifying 25 Flume Slide and got those peaks for summer. So I'm 40 out of 48 peaks for summer, closing in.
Oh, you're almost there.
Yeah, closing in on those bad Larrys. I think we might dive into another podcast episode or Spuds, and I'll save up some of our hiking adventures, and we can kind of do that later, I think.
Sweet.
We already got a big enough episodes tonight, and a lot of good stuff coming up tonight,
yeah.
So
that sounds good, man.
Cool.
You want to get into the music moment?
Yeah, and I think we have a new sponsor for our music moment, right? For the next music moment now?
Yes.
Exciting stuff.
Yep. So exciting news. We have an official sponsor of the PUDs Podcast sponsoring Nick's music moment. And you probably just listened to their episode. If you haven't, go back and listen to it. But it's Roots Coffee Roasters. They are officially our sponsor, and they're sponsoring here the Nick's Music Moment. So make sure you check them out. You can find them at rootscoffeeroasters.us. Go on there, order yourself some coffee, some gear, memorabilia, hats, T-shirts, whatever it is that you're looking for. Whole bean, ground coffee, whatever it is you're looking for, they have it.
Any kind of grind, right?
Any kind of grind, yep. And if there's a grind that they don't have listed, you can message them. And you can also apply promo code PUDS10 for 10% off of your order at rootscoffeeroasters.us. So
yep, that's PUDS 10.
PUDS 10. Yep. So go check them out. Order yourself some coffee. Find them on social media at Roots Coffee Roasters, and happy to be partnered up with them.
Yeah, and we've even gotten to try some, and it's absolutely delicious. I have zero complaints.
Oh, it's so good. So good. So let's get into the music moment.
All right, man. So sometimes on a run, I just get like, I was going out today in a break in the rain, and I'm like, I don't know, I just don't want to listen to anything super upbeat. Like, I've been listening to that Porter Robinson album, and it's literally been taking my split times down. And it's like, I'm like, I can't listen to that today. Like, every day I'm like, I'm going to go out, I'm going to like not try to like make a good pace for me or like an above average pace for me. Like, I'm just going to go out and chill. So I'm like, I can't do the Porter Robinson album again. I love that album. It's fantastic, but just the beat to and stuff, I just can't take it slow. Like, I just end up cranking it out again. At least quicker for me. I'm not fast by any means. I want to clarify that to everybody. I'm not a fast runner. But anyways, I was poking through, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to throw on the Cranberries' greatest hits.
Oh,
We're going to roll with this.
The Cranberries.
I haven't listened to them in a while. So gotten on a little kick, I guess, or at least this morning, and was listening to it again this afternoon. So yeah, the Cranberries, Stars, the best of 1992 to 2002, their greatest hits album, came out in 2002, so it's a bit dated, but that's kind of when they did their thing. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to get too much into it. Most people probably know who the Cranberries are, I hope, or you probably know a few songs by the Cranberries. If you think you don't, you probably do.
Yeah.
At least if you're probably older than like 18 or 19, I would think you probably have heard some of their songs in movies and other things.
Zombies,
right?
From
Ireland. Yeah, Zombies, yeah. Dreams, Linger.
Who hasn't heard Zombies, dude?
Yeah, I mean, those are probably the three of the bigger ones. Salvation. Good stuff. And it just proved a nice switch up. I feel like sometimes, like most people, you get caught up and listen to the same albums over and over again. And it's nice when they're good albums like Porter Robinson, and you kind of get hooked on them. I like to like digest them, if you will, and kind of get to know every part to them. But after a while, I'm like, I just need to break it up and take a chill.
Yeah.
Cannons is another really good group that I've had some of their music on our podcast too, where I'll like throw on like, I'm like, this is like it must be just like the beat and the pace, probably like the BPM of the actual album, that just keeps you a little bit slower. Like, I feel like if you start speeding up, you're like, whoa, like I'm running, like I need chill vibes. Like, that's what I was looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so the only other little tidbit I had on it, it's called Stars because Stars was a previously unreleased track, and it's actually found in this greatest hits. So that's why it's called Stars.
Nice.
And yeah, that's it. Check out the Cranberries. Do you have any Josh's jazzy music moment for us tonight?
Yeah, so nothing really specific, but my in-laws went to go see REO Speedwagon.
Ooh.
And Train. And REO Speedwagon is not who I thought they were. I thought REO Speedwagon was Steely Dan, so I have no idea. What? I have no idea about music.
I was going to ask you, what does REO Speedwagon sing? Because I'm sure I know, like,
yeah, they have
some songs by them, but I couldn't name one.
Heard it from a friend who.
Okay.
Heard it from a friend who. That one.
Yep.
But yeah.
Them in Train, huh? That seems kind of weird.
Yeah. And they said it was great. They got rained on a little bit. It was over this past weekend, so they got rained on a little bit. But no, they had a great time. Xfinity Center.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
I wouldn't have thought they were that big to play there.
Yeah. Big enough. I mean, they're pretty big, dude. They're just a little bit before our time, I think, and I don't think they're super big, but
Sorry, I'm not showing REO Speedwagon the proper respect, I guess.
They're not Steely Dan, apparently.
They're no Steely Dan.
Yeah, they're no Steely Dan.
This is really quick. It's music related, and it came up because of I was thinking of the Apple Music Top 100 episode, but I was in Cumbies, and that song "Royals" by Lorde came on. I'm like, this is not a top 100 album song. Yeah. It's just not.
It's gas station music.
Yeah. Like literally, I was just like, it just came on, and I'm like, it took me back to that. I'm like, yeah, because in that they're like, it had the massive song "Lorde," and like we were talking about that for a minute. But anyways,
ridiculous.
That's all I got.
All right, man. Let's get into the main topic then.
All right, let's get into the main topic.
He snores.
Oh, he's not even sleeping.
No, that's just his breathing sound.
Oh, he won't rest till he gets his meds.
All right,
such a great start.
Oh, we started. Okay.
I think this is a fantastic start.
Yeah, actually, it's so good. It's so good.
Dog snoring in the background. Joss's sultry voice. We're all here together. 5 people in the Black Cat Studios.
It's a full house. Full house in here tonight.
It is. So what's going on? Finally, friends of the podcast, Mike and Lorrie here in the flesh. Got some stories to tell, I think.
We got Ashley here, too.
Yeah, we got Ashley here.
The utility co-host, Ashley.
Yeah. That's me.
And just to go throw it back to the last episode you were on, I would not have been mad if Nick said my tagline on the way out of the podcast.
I thought you would have been angry.
I don't know. I didn't think it was going to go over well.
Oh, it's not. Listen, nobody can do it like me, but it's okay.
He was about to do it, and I was like, no.
It would have been okay.
Stop.
As a listener, that would have been weird.
It would have felt weird.
Yeah, it would have felt weird.
I would have stopped the podcast that second.
All right, yeah, don't do it then. Don't do it. Yeah, we're joined by friends of the podcast, Mike and Lorrie tonight. Very happy to have you guys on. Thank you guys so much for coming in, agreeing to do this.
Thanks for having us. Yeah.
So I guess let's start off into one of the big main questions is, obviously we're a podcast that talks about hiking,
and everything you talk about while hiking,
and everything that you talk about while hiking. That's
or you
awesome.
might talk about. I don't know. Anyways,
yeah, everything you talk about while hiking. It covers a whole array of things.
Yes,
it covers a whole array. But so what? I guess what got you guys into hiking? What got you guys into nature?
So for me, it was actually, I went on a camping trip with my stepfather, my mother, and my sister when I was a kid. And we went to Mount Chicora, and we were going up Mount Chicora one day, and we were going up the Champney Falls Trail, and it was not for my sister. And I remember being really disappointed that we weren't going. So the next day, my stepfather just took me, and we went up Piper Trail and climbed Mount Chicora, and I kind of fell in love with it. A few years later, did Mount Lafayette with them, and then started kind of just going up and solo hiking when I could, just whenever there was an opportunity.
How old were you at that point?
The first time I solo hiked, I was probably in my mid-20s. I kind of did it on again, off again for a number of years.
Okay.
It was really in 2018 where like it just kind of sunk in and
blossomed.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Nick and I have been talking about it for a long time. You know, I might have had a hand in their first hike, and
a full hand.
I still apologize for that. Probably could have been an easier one, but in my defense, I had only done 2 different hikes at that point. So
it turned into a whole obsession that you didn't realize was going to happen.
And then that obsession then kind of I caught it, and in 2018 started doing a lot of solo hiking. And between 2018 and 2019, I did all the 48. So
You guys brought the dogs with you tonight. You want to introduce the dogs?
Yeah.
I guess we have to at this point.
I think so.
So if you hear the snoring noise, that's Otis. He is our 11-year-old hound mix.
The dog that just licked my foot was Frank.
He's a 1-year-old puppy and definitely just drank out of Ash's water bottle. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, FYI.
That's awesome.
That was why I was snapping.
It's fine.
Yeah, you're a good friend for telling her. 'Cause I wouldn't say.
No, I saw him and I was like,
there was full tongue.
I just let it happen.
Yeah, I did want to mention too, like Mike is fully the person that got me and Ash down the hiking rabbit hole, the 48 of all that. I didn't know about the 48 4,000 footers until Mike told us about that and the Kinsmans and all that. That was our gateway drug into hiking, but I'm so thankful for it because we've had so many freaking good times since then, and I'm sure we're gonna have many more.
Yep.
We actually might not be here today if you didn't introduce him to hiking.
That's actually
That's
really
true,
That's
actually.
a very
You
fair
might
point.
be the catalyst.
You're
many
welcome.
things.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. Yeah, thank you so much. And so, Lorrie, how about you? What really got you into hiking, or was it this guy, or was it?
It was actually.
Oh,
So
there you go.
I was never a hiker. Nature's hot and sucks sometimes, especially when you grow up in Southeast Georgia. So moved up north, met Mike, and I had this delusional idea that I was going to go to Mount Everest. And we were talking about it at the bar one of the first nights we met. And, then we started dating. And then COVID hit, and we started going hiking up north in New Hampshire, and just kind of fell in love with it, even though, it sucks on the way up.
It sucks.
So,
Listen, take it from me.
Can't breathe.
When you get older, it sucks on the way down.
For me, it sucks both the way in and the way out.
sucks equally.
But I'll do it because I love my buddy. But
Thanks, John.
because you said you grew up in Georgia.
Southeast Georgia, yeah.
Now, any hiking down there at all?
No.
Yeah, I wouldn't imagine.
Is the AT at all in that area of Georgia?
It's up north Georgia near Atlanta,
Okay.
but not in the south. I mean, the south, pretty much all you're going to get is like a dirt road to a swamp somewhere.
Yeah,
So,
it's not super appealing.
Yeah.
Sorry, Georgia. But
You're selling it. You're really selling it.
it's great.
yeah.
So this passion, this, I guess, love that you've gotten for not only Mike, but also for hiking itself has kind of blossomed into a little business venture for you.
It certainly has. Yeah, I just this year, back in January, launched a clothing line, Adventuristic. And by we, I mean me. I hand draw all of these designs, and they're usually large back prints, but I do have a couple of front prints as well. It's everything that I loved. So I had to sit back and think about what I was attracted to in clothing and t-shirts, and I tried to really expand on that and create these really awesome designs that are just full of color and patterns and eclectic. It's all nature inspired, and I just really love it. So
Yeah.
Well, if you ever want any stick figures, just let me know, and then I can
you'll
help
be my
drawing
source.
at that
Yes,
point.
perfect.
Yeah.
Man.
At least you'd go that far. I would just use AI to try to figure out how to make something that I have in my brain. But
I'd have to learn how to use AI first.
yeah, a little bit of typing.
It's something in itself.
A little bit of typing.
AI is not perfect,
No.
so there's a lot of cultivating, I think, to get out your ideas and express them. So that's super cool.
Yeah. But it's really cool because you kind of have taken like the graphic tee world and the nature and hiking world and kind of combined them into your own little small business, hopefully
Yeah.
soon to be big business.
A baby was born.
Yeah.
Very much
Yeah.
a baby, but
I feel like I'll throw out too, like, already the designs that you have, like, we literally were seeing some friends from Portland, Oregon, like, last weekend, and my buddy's mom literally looked at my shirt because I was wearing an Adventuristic shirt, and she's like, who did that design and stuff? So it's like you're creating some
that's
stuff,
cool.
but you're creating some stuff that it kind of blurs the lines, I think, between the graphics and stuff. Like, it's not something people see to expect, but it sticks out a lot, which is super cool. Like, I think that says something when, like, an older lady, not to call it Gerard's mom, but, like, is, like, looking at a design and be like, that's super cool. Like, I would buy that. And, like, I've had that happen several times already with that shirt and wearing it.
That's what I'm going
and then
for.
you've got the tech tees and stuff, too, or the athletic performance tees. So that's, like,
Yep.
it's good stuff.
Expanding on the performance line, you can wear them hiking and they don't smell like a foot when you get done.
Yeah, which is amazing.
Usually.
I've worn mine on a couple hikes now.
Many of them.
And I love it. I mean, it's like, it's not too heavy. It's like, but it's sturdy at the same time. It's great.
Breathes, yep.
Yeah, nice breeze. Yeah, I love mine. I love the fit of it too. Like, it fits you, but it's not like too fitted. Like, the sizing is really good on it too.
Thanks. I'm glad you guys like it.
I think the coolest thing is that you're doing the designs on your own. Like, that you're hand drawing them. I think that's like, to have that level of creativity, like, this is my art. My art is being able to just talk about anything for an extended period of time. But to be able to sit down and have an idea in your head of something that you want to put on paper or put onto a T-shirt and just be able to make that happen is so awesome. And to be able to put it out there for the masses to be able to consume and to appreciate I think is really cool. Do you have a website?
I do, yep. So it's adventuristic.com, adventuristic.com. That's also my Instagram handle if you want to follow me on Instagram. It's @adventuristic. And yeah, I mean, the designs, they all just kind of come to me. Sometimes I'll start with like a single element that inspires me, or a photo or a backdrop or something like that, and I just expand on that. I know it drives Mike crazy when I spend 5 hours a night for a week starting a design, but he likes, I mean, some of them. The first few were
most of them.
Rough.
I like most of them, but I'm just impressed that you picked up the iPad and just were immediately putting out quality, art. Like, I can't draw. I said, stick figures is about my line, and to see the things that you've already created in this short period of time is really impressive, especially considering you didn't even have the iPad until you started this.
Yeah.
And so it's not like you were drawing on it.
So sick.
So
yeah, it's been a really fun process, and I think I've surprised myself with it along the way, because when I originally started this venture, I wasn't planning to draw all of my own designs, but it kind of morphed into that over time, and I just have so much fun with it. It's a lot of fun just sitting there and like let something creatively flow out of you and not look like absolute garbage at the end of it.
I'm telling you, man. That's how I feel when I sit down and talking to this mic and people are actually taking it in and appreciating it. It's that same feeling. So I know exactly where you're at.
Yeah, I mean, again, like musically or like photography or stuff. To me, it's the thing that like makes you feel creative and stuff, so it's super cool to see that you're finding it through that outlet. Like, honestly, like it's very cool to see that, and
thanks,
you
guys.
Clearly to see the product of it too is even better, especially when it's moisture wicking and
and breathable.
Listen, a lot of moisture comes off this body, so I need some wicking. I need things to wick.
Me and you both.
But so I think Nick and I have agreed you're going to be our first official sponsor of the podcast. So.
Yeah. It is a joy to be here. Excited
we'll have to do
some
sort of pre-recorded whatever kind of thing.
Yeah, we'll do a little promo for you. Yeah. We'll do something fun.
Do something
fun.
Oh, now I need a tagline. Yeah. Ashley, help me with that.
I'll have to think. I'll have to think of something.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever come up with a tagline for anything though.
Why would you have had come up with a tagline by now?
We'll workshop it to Tony.
Yeah, we'll workshop it.
He's a big salesman.
Can we do a jingle instead? Like, Nick, you want to sing a little jingle for us?
Adventuristic. That's all I'm gonna do.
I'll think of something.
I'm gonna save something
awesome.
for the people.
Let's get into what I guess the people came in for.
Yeah. So it would have been nice to have moisture wicking T-shirts by Lorrie's company on this hike, but we're gonna throw it back. You guys, we're gonna have to bring you guys back for a while. Like, without going into too much detail, you guys are avid hikers. We've been on many trips together, many hikes together. Some maybe that Lorrie wanted to kill me on, but I'm still here.
More than some.
And you guys literally went to the Himalayas. We're gonna tease that a little bit because we're gonna have you guys back for a talk about kind of going up to Everest Base Camp, because that was just, man, that was a story, and I'm sure a lot of people would love to hear that.
That was the trip.
I'm looking forward to that one.
That was the trip.
I've already heard some of that story. I'm looking forward to getting into.
But for this one, we're gonna crank the time machine back a little bit into August of 2021, when all of us went to Baxter State Park, trying to work on our New England 67 and just have a good time.
And boy, did we!
Oh, we had a time, to say the least. So I do want to credit Lorrie again, because I think it started. I don't know if it would. My first question, I guess, for you guys was the brainchild. Was this Lorrie? Was it your idea to go to Baxter or Mike's? both, or maybe kind of deal?
Me. I think that we had talked about, we like to just go camping for vacations, and I think that we had talked about doing Baxter and Katahdin, and it morphed. So I'm a serious planner. I'm a very type A planner, so I feel like the next 3 years worth of vacations already planned out. So as soon as we started talking about
excessive.
I mean, that's fine.
I resonated on the same wavelength as you, but a little bit not quite as far in advance, but I'm in the same boat.
But it morphed into this, we talked about it for 5 minutes, and then by midnight that night, I already had a campsite picked out, and, where we were going to stay and the dates we were going to stay, and then we reached out to you guys, and you were able to join us, which was awesome, and it was a great time.
That was your first time camping, right?
Yeah, that was our first time, doing sort of a car camping deal and kind
an
of
actual camping. I think prior to that, I camped at Maple Park in Plymouth.
Yeah, we hadn't done anything.
But that doesn't count as camping.
Is that even real camping?
No, it's not.
Yeah, and for those of you who don't know, because I'm list centric, everybody knows that by now. But Baxter State Park does contain, basically, you can probably hear Margo in the background meowing, but we're gonna let her keep doing her thing.
Shut up!
She's just meowing, our cat. But Baxter State Park does have Baxter Peak and Hamlet Peak and North Brother, which are 3 of the New England 67. And it has a couple of the New England 100 highest with Coe and I think maybe one of the brothers or someone else. But it's got a bunch of peaks. It's a beautiful area. You can visit in itself, not even being a peat bagger, because it's just fantastic. I was gonna spit out some quick facts from Baxter State Park, just to let the people know that aren't aware. So Baxter State Park, 209,644 acres. It's enormous.
It's a lot of trees.
It's a state park. It's actually governed by its own sort of little, district of rangers and stuff. It's not part of the Maine state parks. It was basically, how it started was Governor Percival P. Baxter started buying acreage.
Percival?
Yeah, Percival.
Oh, jeez.
Old-timey names.
Percival P. Baxter.
Jeez.
But he actually started buying acreage in Maine going back to 1930. His first purchase was 6,000 acres, and he actually continued to buy land and give it to the state until 1962. So 32 years he kept buying land and giving it back to the state of Maine just for wilderness area, which is pretty sick. And it makes sense why Baxter Peak is the height, literally the pinnacle of Katahdin and everything else. That's kind of where it comes from.
That's such a Percival move.
Right?
If your name's Percival, you have to do something good with that name.
How does one just acquire a mountain?
Just
was there
land.
A newspaper, or how do you come across this land?
I'm gonna go. So it was funny before we started recording this as preparation. I was looking on Wikipedia about Baxter State Park, and it's it's like an encyclopedia worth the knowledge of there's a lot of different legislature and how it came to be is really impressive. I encourage people to look it up. I'm not gonna throw it out on the podcast because we'd be here for another 2 hours if I had to run through the history. But established in 1931 as a state park. Katahdin is the mountain range that consists of Baxter Peak, Hamlet Peak, that giant cirque that basically is the thing that people think about when they think about Baxter State Park. Katahdin, Baxter Peak, is the end of the Appalachian Trail, probably the most notable thing for hikers and what people know it by. That's the northern terminus of that entire trail that runs up from Georgia. It's got over 40 peaks and different ridges in it, separate mountain range from the Whites or anything else. If you look at the map, I think a lot of people too have in their head they think Maine in that area is close to the Whites, but it's not at all. Maine is totally its whole own deal. It's not anything like New Hampshire. I kind of feel like you go up to Baxter. I know when we stay there, I was blown away. I'm like, this does not feel like New Hampshire. You feel like you're just so disconnected, and it's beautiful. And there's over 215 miles of hiking trails in Baxter State Park. Ooh. And I'm not even getting into the kayaking, the fishing, the lakes. It's a super impressive area.
Nick, I have a question.
Sure.
I have a question.
Sure.
State Park. New Hampshire State Park, right?
Maine.
Okay. Are you allowed to, because you guys camped there, it's a wicked reduced rate to camp in the state park, right?
Generally.
Not necessarily, but that was a great segue. I'm going to throw back to Lorrie.
Nailed it.
So that was fantastic. Fantastic. But I know there was a little bit of a deal with booking campgrounds in Baxter that I wanted our listeners to know, because if you're not just going to show up to Baxter that day and get a campground, it's too popular.
That's why I asked, because I figured you could just show up and put the tent anywhere.
Yeah, you can't.
Okay.
Definitely can't do that. No, it's actually you have to plan at least 4 months in advance.
Oh, wow.
It opens on a rolling daily basis, so 4 months from every day it opens for that day, and then you really have to just jump on it. And thankfully, I had already looked at the map of the campground. I had picked a spot by the water. I have very intense requirements for camping spots.
Gable Stream Campground.
Awesome. Gable Stream Campground. Loved it. I don't remember the site that we were at, but, it's great for having to bathe in the stream when you get home after midnight.
Riverfront property.
Yeah, riverfront property. There you go. But we booked it 4 months in advance, and leading up to it, I was checking it every day. Mm-hmm. I don't think it was super expensive, but definitely less than $100 a night for a site.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
I think it was less than $50 a night.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was far less than that. I think. Did we need to get a parking permit as well?
I think we had. I think you could buy one when we entered Baxter State Park.
Yeah, at the guard station.
From Millinocket's the closest town to Baxter. Like the thing I didn't realize too is like you get up there like. It's almost a 6-hour drive, I think, from where we are, basically.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Then, or 5.5 to Millinocket, then like another half an hour driving into Baxter. So you're very much like, you get there and we're like, hey guys, it's good to see you. Because like, it's just, it almost feels like an alien area, but it's just like woods and it's beautiful.
So another question then this is for the listeners.
Okay.
Facilities, what's this camp situation look like? Is there bathrooms? Is there showers? Or you need to come with your solar bag so you can have a shower and all that stuff?
I guess that kind of depends on what level of camping you expect.
Oh, okay.
But the toilet was definitely an outhouse, if I recall.
Yes.
Okay. So there is a toilet. There is a toilet.
There is a toilet, but it's
toilet in quotations. Yes.
Okay. Yes. I don't have to dig a hole.
It was nice though. Like it actually was well ventilated.
It was very clean.
Cleaner than you would suspect. Yeah, for sure.
So it was just a kind of a single toilet popped up in the middle of the woods, and there wasn't some large bathhouse or anything like that. And then for showering, we used the stream.
We did.
Yeah, there was no showers.
I don't think there was no showers.
We were at Able Stream Campground, and then there was also a waterfall called Little Able Falls, nearby, that we pretty much chilled out in.
So
awesome.
any running water, or you need to filter your own water or boil your own water while you're there?
We had to filter our own, right?
Yeah, we did have to filter.
We had to filter our own. So, but we had that stream right there to grab it. So I think, right?
Yeah,
I don't remember there being running
there was
water.
a stream right behind our camp. Like we had a sick spot where our campsite was. Like the stream was running back there. Because I washed myself naked after the story that we're going to talk about in a little bit.
Nice.
But not at the same time.
I mean, no? It was so...
Oh, man. That would be a story.
Honestly, we could have been 100 feet apart at that point. We wouldn't have seen each other.
It was pitch black. It was so dark, you could barely see in front of you.
It wouldn't have mattered at all. Nobody would have cared.
These are the questions that the listeners want answered.
Yeah,
so.
This is what they want to know. Yeah, so we showed up to Baxter, and I was looking up the dates because it was just a while ago, but it's August 5th that we actually drove there. And we showed up, I remember it kind of rained a little bit that night. We set up camp around Able Stream Campground. And we were planning to hike Hamlin Peak and Baxter Peak the next day.
Planning to.
Yeah, the two majestic peaks of Katahdin, two of the New England 67.
There's a lot of subtle foreshadowing happening right now.
Yeah, I like it.
Very subtle.
I like it. It's like I'm telling a story and people are filling in the foreshadowing for me. So Hamlin Peak is not the main peak of Katahdin. Katahdin, for those of you who haven't seen it or haven't ever been there, again, like I think people get confused between Katahdin and Baxter Peak, like I know I did. But Katahdin is a giant mountain basically in the center of Baxter State Park. It's huge. It's like a pile of boulders. It looks to me like if you had the northern presidentials, but there's no tree line. Maybe above 1,000 or 2,000 feet. I don't know if Mike can check me on that, but I feel like it's just like it's all gravel. Like it's earlier than the tree line you see in the Whites.
It's definitely earlier. I don't know if it's quite 1,000 or 2,000 feet, but it definitely hit far earlier.
Yeah,
we crossed over and had a view. So
yeah, you get exposed earlier. But Hamlin Peak's 4,756 feet. Baxter Peak, the pinnacle of Katahdin, and Margot's still meowing, is 5,267 feet. Margot's really interested in hiking in Baxter State Park.
Get him out of here.
And I broke down, so our original planned route, which me and Ash ended up doing, but you guys broke off for the reasons that we're going to talk about shortly. But the best I could guesstimate, there's not actually like a formal trail guide or book that I know of that actually outlines a full loop of these. So to do Hamlin Peak and Baxter, it's about 10.8 miles. I guesstimated about 4,500 feet of elevation gain. It might be close to 5,000 to be honest. if you accommodate the up and downs between Hamlin and Baxter. And our planned route was to take Jiminy Pond Trail from Roaring Brook Trailhead, hit the Saddle Trail to Northwest Basin Trail to go to Hamlin Peak, back to the Saddle Trail up Baxter Peak, and then descend from there pretty much back to the trailhead. Our plans got a little bit interrupted, to say the least.
A little bit.
We headed up. I'm trying to think. Do you remember what time exactly we left, Mike? I know we left early in the morning. Yeah.
I want to say we were at the trailhead sometime between 6 and 6:30.
Yeah.
Like, we were trying to get a good head start because we knew it was going to be a long, hard hike.
And it was probably maybe 20-something minute ride from Able Stream Camp.
20-30 minutes, yeah.
We were on the western side of Katahdin, basically, going to the eastern side to drive across.
Yeah, I think it was like 10 minutes back to the entrance to Baxter State Park, and then another 15-20 minutes from there or something like that.
I think I was just asleep in the backyard forester. So,
so you had to physically leave the park to get to the trailhead?
Yeah, so there's multiple campgrounds in Baxter State Park. We didn't have to leave the park, but we were at one campground, and the trailhead we were going to was on the complete other side of the mountain. There was actually a trailhead at our campground.
Yeah, there's an Able, like the Able trailhead, and that's actually one of the more direct routes up like sort of a west slide that goes up to Baxter Peak and Katahdin.
Direct read steep.
Yeah, it's very, very steep. Actually, it was funny. I noticed since then, Baxter State Park has actually relocated it since like the mid-2010s, which is kind of funny because I guess it was too sketchy for hikers to go. But anyways, which it's not sketchy going up Katahdin anyway, which I think is just funny because there's a notable slide portion going up to the Saddle Trail.
Yeah, we went up the easy way, and I'm using air quotes there because Saddle Trail was quite steep.
It's rough. So we got there early in the morning. We showed up. I really do credit Baxter for how rigid some people might say it's rigid, but they very much check like who you're with. Like even when you check in to Baxter State Park, they're checking who's in your party, what campground you're going to. Like they run it really well.
What car you're in?
Yeah, what car you're in.
Counting the cars in the parking lot.
No animals allowed for the dog owners and stuff. Dogs, I'm sorry, you can't come to Baxter. They don't allow you. There's too many moose and
I think
deer.
Otis might have appreciated not having to go on this one.
Yeah, he probably would have appreciated it.
Poor guy.
But yeah, we left off to Roaring Brook, made our way up Chimney Pond. I think nothing too eventful that I remember. I remember when you first hit like one of the lower ponds going up that trail and seeing Hamlin Peak and Baxter, and you're like, holy crap. Then we got to Chimney Pond and you see like the knife's edge, and you're like, wow, that's like, when people talk about it, you're like, how crazy could that thing look? And you're like, oh damn, that looks crazy. That looks like that thing came out of Colorado somewhere. Like someone spit it out up in northern Maine.
But next time.
Yes,
next time.
For sure.
It's on my bucket list. I want to do Knife's Edge.
We got to do it.
We'll bring the walkies for that, and you guys have a great time. And I'll go the other way.
We'll just be waving from you on the top of the Knife Edge. But we got up there, and we headed up Saddle. And I think that's probably where it really got challenging, I have to say. And this is from, too, like, I want to throw it back, like to call Lorrie out, but, like, you had hiked in the Whites with us quite a bit at this point already. So, like, you kind of knew what you were in for. But I'm curious what your experience was that, like, once we started up that 0.2 mile slide section that website actually calls out, but I'm like, to just call it that section, it's a very aggressive steep section. So like when we hit that,
that's all it was?
No, not 0.2 in. It's like, it's the last 0.2 before you hit the saddle, which
so the length of that section was 0.2.
Yeah.
Wow, it felt like eternity.
Yeah.
And I didn't even finish it.
It's like slippery.
Oh, I feel you.
Slippery rocks.
These boulders. So we should preface this by saying I am not the fastest hiker. Like, you know, I mean, we've got some stuff to carry up the mountain. That's what's happening. And so because of that, like, I'm just not the fastest hiker. So Nick and Ashley, all of you guys know this. They usually put me in front and I kind of mosey my way up. Every 10 steps I'll stop and take a break and, you know, gather some oxygen in my lungs. But going up that day...
That's how I do stairs.
Well, same. That's my practice. So that day, what was it? 3 miles up to Chimney Pond?
Something to that.
Yeah, around that.
Up to that lake?
Like I was saying, it was 10.8 miles round trip for that loop, which I think might be a little bit low guesstimate. I was looking at a map. But yeah, something like that.
Something like that. So 3 miles up to that part. So by that point, my legs were already
and you're
done.
You're doing about 3,000 feet by that point, to be fair.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It was a good amount. And I don't know what time it was, noon by the time we had gotten
It might have been a little earlier, 11.
It was definitely
maybe.
earlier than that.
Yeah,
We made pretty good time, honestly.
Yeah.
I think from the trailhead to that point, I feel like we made good time.
We did, and then it kind of all went downhill. But we had a 2 p.m. cutoff, so we knew going into the hike that we needed to be headed back down by 2 p.m. to make it before dark. So that was our kind of mental cutoff. And by the time we had started up this really steep section, my legs were just absolutely beat, and your thighs start shaking, and every 2 steps you have to stop and take a breath and like regather your composure. And I was what did it take us, 25 minutes to go like 200 yards?
It took us a bit. I remember we were going up there, and it was just a rough section. I mean, for people that haven't, like, I would compare it to like maybe doing the slide. Not the slide, but it's like if you go up like North Hancock, there's a couple different slides in the way. It's like Owl's Head or something like that, where there's loose scree and rock, and it's very defeating because you feel like you're trying to get sure footing and you're trying to go up and you just keep sliding back down. And that's the thing of like, again, like Mike highlighted too, it's like this is the quote unquote easy way to go to Baxter Peak. I mean, there's a couple, you look at a trail map, there's many different ways to approach it if you're willing to really go for long mileage. But for real, like, there's no easy way to get up Katahdin or Baxter Peak. Like, you're looking at least 4,000 feet on very rough terrain. Albeit, I'll say some of the most beautiful terrain I've seen in the Northeast so far hiking compared to the Adirondacks or Vermont or New Hampshire or whatever. Sorry, Washington and the Northern Prezzies, I love you. But, like, Baxter is really something amazing. But it's like, but I remember we were going up there and I'm like, dude, this is something that, like, I think we all collectively felt a little bit like Lorrie has not seen this shit
Well,
yet.
that was your first time hiking on like loose rock like that,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, it was. I hadn't done the Northern Prezzies at that point, so no Madison, no Adams. So, I mean, really, I think the furthest north we had done was maybe Eisenhower.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Just these large boulders. It wasn't this loose rock and scree. So, it was definitely a wake-up call. And I think probably halfway up that section is when I tapped out. I was like, you guys go. I'll wait here for you. Have fun. And I'm going to just enjoy this beautiful view. And I popped a squat and just hung out. And I think it was probably 5 minutes before this that we looked at Nick and Ashley. And you and I, Mike, knew that I wasn't going to make it. So I think we told you guys to go on or something like that. Yeah. Because, I mean, clearly you two were faster than we are. So.
I remember, too, like, Mike was like, don't feel bad.
Yeah,
I don't like separating from people at all. Like,
if I recall, the original plan when we split with you guys was you guys would go off and continue to Hamlin.
Yep.
We would keep going and meet you on the way up to Baxter, right?
At the table or whatever that
table.
Yeah, I think we were going to turn left and just start right up towards Baxter, and they would just catch up to us.
And we had the walkies. So
and we had the walkie-talkies.
Yeah, we didn't mention that. We were all prepared hikers, especially this day. But yeah, we had walkie-talkies to communicate with each other, which actually worked out. That's the first time we really used them, I think.
I think
those walkies have proved useful.
They have.
Many times since. We haven't gotten to the point where we're using the walkie-talkie.
No, we already had them on us. We were like, I think by this point I was just like teasing Lorrie, being like, "Hey, Bluebird," or something like that. Like I'd just be like say stupid shit on them and be like, "Come in, Bluebird," but we'd be like 6 feet apart and be like,
well, this was the first hike that we brought the walkies on, right?
Yeah, because we knew we might. I mean, it's just nice to have them.
Yeah, it made splitting up a little more comforting because it was like we knew we could still talk to each other. Mm-hmm. And to be clear, we all each had a walkie.
Yeah, all four of us had shortly.
Yes. Yeah, no. So that super steep section is right before the Tablelands, which on Katahdin is this big open area of like alpine tundra that's like kind of an interesting field, like almost plateau looking thing. And kind of when you hit up saddle and you finally reach the Tablelands, to your right is Hamlin Peak and to your left is Baxter Peak. Baxter Peak, like, while you think it's not that far away, you start to realize there's a lot of deviations in like ridgeline and rock going up to it. So we hit up Hamlin, and me and Ash started to head up there to bag Hamlin. And I remember at one point I'm looking back, and I hear chatter on the walkie-talkie, and all of a sudden I see Mike. I still have this imagery in my head. It's crazy. I'm never going to forget that ever. But running up Hamlin, I think it's Northwest Basin Trail or up to Hamlin Ridge Trail, or I think Hamlin Ridge Trail meets Northwest Basin. But either way, running up the trail, and I'm like, what's going on? And like Mike wanted to bag Hamlin Peak is what was going on.
Yeah, like about 10, 15 minutes tops after you guys had split off, I think Lorrie made the decision that she had bitten off a little more than she thought she was ready for. And so she stopped, and then we had the conversation.
I mean, I could have eaten it, but I would need like 36 hours and a lot more
we would have had to leave Lorrie.
Little did you know, we might have had 36 hours.
Yeah.
Some more foreshadowing there.
Yeah.
So you let this guy take off?
I did, because you know what? We got all the way up there, and I feel bad enough forcing people to stay back with me. That just feels like a crappy move. Like, we're all up there to experience the same thing, so you should go experience it.
Very gracious of you.
It was a conversation because I didn't feel super comfortable leaving her, but she said she'd be fine.
I didn't feel super comfortable leaving you guys because we're here on the PUDs podcast too. Like, we preach, man. It's like that's a big hiking principle. Is like, you do not leave your group. And we left that day, but we did have walkie-talkies. We knew what we were planning on, and I think there are situations where it's probably okay, especially we visually could look at each other the entire time. Like Mike running across the bridge line. So back to that.
Yeah, so once I decided I was going to go on, I didn't know how far I was from the tableland. So we were heading up, and we didn't know quite how close we were. So I was like, let me just see where I'm at, and then I'll meet up with them and potentially do Baxter. And then I hit the tableland real quick. Like, she was right really close.
You're so close.
Yeah, I 100 vertical, maybe another 100 vertical feet, and she would have been there. So once I hit the tablelands, I was like, all right, maybe I got a shot. It hasn't been that long. I dropped my pack, knowing we were going to come back to there, knowing they had packs up with them, and just took my walkie-talkie, and I started... I don't want to say running because I am not a trail runner, and
you ran.
I will never be mistaken for a trail runner.
You were moving,
but I was moving pretty good to try and catch up to them. And then once Nick and Ashley realized what was going on, they graciously held up and waited until I caught up to them, which I still appreciate because otherwise I might have caught up to them halfway down Hamlin Peak.
Yeah, we saw you running up, and we got up Hamlin. I don't remember it being particularly difficult, though. Like, once you hit the tablelands to go up Hamlin.
No, that wasn't too bad.
Though I'd say if you've been in the Northern Prezzies before, like, you kind of expect... It's like boulder hopping. That's all it was. Yeah. It wasn't anything ridiculous. It wasn't super steep. It was pretty grippy rock and stuff, so it wasn't too hard. And awesome views. I think Hamlin, debatably, has a better view than Baxter in a way. Like, you can look across the knife's edge and see it up to Baxter Peak, and it's super impressive looking at that whole, like... I guess ravine that goes down to Chimney Pond and stuff, so that was cool. But yeah, you met us up there, and that was funny. Like, we got back, and we all enjoyed the summit together for a bit, and we headed back down, and I think at that point you split off from us again to meet Lorrie, because Lorrie was just chilling there.
Yeah,
I took a nap.
It had already been, I want to say,
we felt bad.
I really took a nap.
We felt bad for Lorrie, but she actually just slept on
I had a great time.
That's so good.
As uncomfortable as you were hiking up a slide, you're just like, I'm just going to chill out.
I just kind of laid down. I had some snacks. I made friends with people up and down the trail.
You made friends with people we were going to see later?
Yeah.
For
everything happens for a reason. Yep.
Like 500-foot drop to your left from where you're sleeping, but it's all good.
It was fine. Took some photos, had some snacks, and then took a little nap.
Didn't you have like a very little bit of like cell service too?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. You're the only person that posted photos that day.
Yep.
It was a great day.
It was a fantastic day.
So yeah, when we got back to the tableland between Baxter and Hamlin, I decided that I didn't want to leave her there any longer. It had already been hour and a half. It was going to be another hour and a half, 2 hours, and I felt bad just leaving her there. So I told Nick and Ashley to go on without me, and I headed back down to meet up with Lorrie.
Which this was the moment that I realized you guys. You're really in love.
We were in it.
Mike loves bagging of peaks just like I do. So he was like, I'm like, damn, dude. Okay.
Yeah, but
it was
not that we didn't love you at that point.
I get to finish my New England 67 on Baxter Peak though.
You do though now.
I do get to do that.
It was really cute when you came back down. You were like, "Hi." I was like, "Aw, this is like disgustingly adorable. We're those people." Yeah, it was.
After Mike woke you up from your.
He did. I just had my hat over my face. Yep.
Yeah, so, and that's the point that me and Ash split off and we hit Baxter Peak. And that was a very beautiful ridgeline hike.
That was really cool.
How long did it take you to get from where Mike split off to the peak?
I was trying to look through timestamps today from photos, but I'm not entirely sure.
I would say maybe an hour and a half.
Yeah, it's probably...
Hour and a half.
So, like, logically, if you, like, look at it, it's probably, like, another 500, 600 feet up or something from where the saddle trail... And it's weird, too. The saddle trail, like, ends technically before the final stretch to Baxter Peak, but most people call it just the saddle trail. But I would say, maybe it took, like, an hour and a half-ish to get up there. We hung out there for a bit.
We did. I think I was hoping we would catch somebody finishing the AT.
Yeah.
And we never did.
You see the big sign up there that says Baxter Peak, and
it says like the terminus, northern terminus of the Appalachian Trail. Yeah, that was really really cool.
And you get to look across the knife edge, and again, I was like, oh my god. That's...
I think we honestly just sat and just watched people come up from the knife's edge, like in amazement.
Yeah, I mean, no, but again, like it was super beautiful down there. You get to look down Chimney Pond, you see across, and again, it's funny, this is becoming a trend, it seems like, but it was that year too, is Canadian wildfire haze. We had that day too, where it was like, it was a super beautiful dry day, but it was just hazy. You could smell wildfire smoke. But...
Was that the first weather check? I think that was the first weather check.
That's one.
Yeah.
That's one.
Okay.
There'll be a couple more.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Just wait. We're only through like 2 days. so it's definitely going to happen again. But yeah, we got up there and came back down, and I remember at this point, that's kind of like we started heading down the ridge line, and we're taking photos and pictures and getting back to where you started to hit the saddle trail from the tablelands. And I think we talked to you on the walkie when we hit Baxter Peak, and you guys were starting to head down. And then at that point, we got some chatter about like all of a sudden you guys are crossed an injured hiker. And
that's
a bunch of stuff,
and where it got a little chaotic.
Yeah, and this is where the story took a really interesting turn. That none of us for real. Like we're not trying to sound like heroes or anything, because like we really just ended up in this situation. Mm-hmm. I think we're all prepared hikers and stuff, but we just kind of ended up in this whole thing. And it's funny because this has not come up on the podcast yet, and I think
we've been saving it for this moment.
I've not been consciously saving it. I can say that because I kind of like remember.
Well, we haven't talked about Maine hikes yet. We've really been more talking about New Hampshire, Vermont.
It's a different animal, I guess. But yeah. So we got some chatter from Lorrie on the walkie. Yeah, something saying about like you guys. I just remember being like Chimney Pond, like someone like unconscious, like injured hiker, like not even injured hiker, but just like met a woman, her daughter, at, like just all this stuff. I'm like, I'm not really sure what's going on. And then finally, I remember we got like a little bit of, I guess, so-called service. We must have had a direct line of sight on our walkies. And you were saying that you crossed someone that was injured on Saddle Trail heading down. They were AT hikers, and you were at Chimney Pond and you were waiting for rangers. And that's when me and Ash started, like, actually, we didn't go down recklessly, but we started to haul ass down the Saddle Trail back to Chimney Pond, because we're like, we need to get to you guys, and we're like, what's going on? Like, we really were like, what's going on? Like,
panic-inducing.
It was not panic, I wouldn't say panic-inducing, but we're like, just like, what the hell is going on? It's like, it's weird, with walkie-talkies are nice, but I'm like, also, like, we wouldn't have known about, it's funny, if we didn't have those things, we wouldn't have even known about it. And it's a radio frequency, which people consider sort of archaic maybe nowadays, that radios work, but they're very efficient in situations like that. We wouldn't have had cell service and that to call each other. Like, there's no way.
Never. Yeah, so it started when I was, taking my nap on the side of the mountain, and you guys were off doing Baxter Peak. And I'm sorry, Baxter?
Hamlin Peak.
We were doing Hamlin, yeah.
So many names. But while I was taking my nap, everyone kept stopping as they were going up the chimney section, like, are you okay? Do you need snacks? Do you need water? And I was like, guys, I'm fine. I'm just chilling. And two people that had come up, it was this older woman, she's probably in her late 50s, and then her daughter, who looked like she was in her 30s. And they were telling me about how they were doing the AT, but the mother was only doing portions of it. So she skipped New Hampshire, and then she had come up to do Katahdin with her daughter to finish it. And so I chatted with them for 5-10 minutes. It was a good while, considering you don't really chat with people on the trail that much. And they went on, and I didn't think about them again. But when Mike caught up with me and we started going down, I think before we even ran back into them, I had told you that I had met a bunch of people on the trail, and I told you about them.
You did, yeah.
And this woman who was doing the AT but skipping sections and doing it with her daughter. So it was kind of funny leading up to that, because you already had a little inkling of who these people were. And then when we were coming down, we saw them ahead of us down the trail. And so I threw a hand up. I was like, hi, nice to see you again. And then we noticed that the mom was sitting on the ground, I think, when we came up on her. Yeah, I believe
so. Yeah, I don't think they were moving at that point.
Yeah, sitting, but they looked really flushed and anxious and scared. So we asked them if they were okay, and they said that the mother had slipped and fallen on a rock, and she hit her head on a rock. So there was some blood on the side of her head.
Wow.
And she she didn't look great. You know, you can kind of tell when someone's dazed and confused. And they were like, we just need to, get back down to the ranger station and see if we can call for help. And the ranger station wasn't that much farther from us.
No, this was already off of the slide.
Probably,
yeah, this was already off the slide portion of the trail. Thankfully, we were less than a quarter mile, I think, from the ranger station.
Do you know where she actually fell? Did they tell you, or you couldn't?
It was right where we had found her. So in that, it's where the tree section was between the ranger station and where the slide was.
So it was like, so you guys found her as you were descending, and she was just kind of there. Okay.
Yeah,
I didn't know that to this day exactly, or I didn't recall it.
At least she wasn't at the beginning of that slide, or like halfway through that slide.
Much more
that would have been
difficult.
sketchy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think it must have just happened too, because she was definitely more conscious and aware when we first came on her.
Yeah.
And then she got worse as time got on.
Most definitely, yeah.
So we helped them down. I looked at you, Mike, and I was like, we have to help these people. We just have to. And you were like, yeah, but how are we going to get them to a hospital? And I was like, it doesn't matter. We just have to do it. So we helped them down to the ranger station. And then I stayed with the daughter, but you went off looking for...
Yeah, so when we got to the ranger station, the ranger wasn't there. So originally we started talking about just continuing to help them down the mountain. And we got to near that chimney pond. There's the ranger station is pretty close to the pond, and then as you move further away down the trail, you get to some outhouses, and if I recall, there was an open area with some benches or something.
Yeah, I mean that's the last big development before you head up kind of into the quote unquote that alpine zone, the harsh area of Katahdin. So
yeah, and so we got her to the benches. And we were sitting there for a while and we were resting, and if I recall correctly, it was like, okay, we need to push on. And personally, I was like, I think she needs more help than potentially just us. So let's just one more time, I'm going to go back. And I went back to the ranger station to see if the ranger had come back, and luckily she had. And so she came and started talking to the woman, and then we got another bout of luck. If I recall, there was someone camping at the campground.
A doctor of some sort.
That was an actual doctor. Yes.
About that.
So he came over and
so crazy.
I know it was. There's more luck. There's truthfully more luck coming.
Yeah, this woman, she was lucky. She was as lucky as you could be, really.
Yeah.
Just about, yeah.
And the doctor started talking about cracked skull. I mean, these were pretty serious injuries.
This doctor was already on the trail.
He was. So there's a campground at the Chimney Pond. At Chimney Pond. So when you go about 3 or so miles up, and there's this beautiful pond area, and there's lean-tos, and then there's
if you envision there's almost sort of to your south is Baxter Peak, and then Hamlin Peak's almost to the north, but in between's a giant bowl with sort of this ridge line that runs across on the west. Is kind of how Katahdin looks, and Chimney Pond sits right there, it's probably at 3,000 feet, 2,500 feet, something like that. But it's a beautiful little area that's sheltered. But it's your last safe place, sort of, when you're heading up there.
There's bathrooms.
It's the last flat piece of
those
land.
Were not clean.
No, those were not clean.
No,
I think I went in one of them on the way up, and I was like, I should have just found a spot behind a tree.
Yeah.
So the doctor came over. He checked her out. The ranger was with him. And they were talking about pretty serious stuff.
Yeah.
You and I were concerned. Mm-hmm. Concerned enough that we were talking about how do we get her? Does she need a litter?
Yeah.
Do we need people to carry her out? Can they airlift her out of here?
I'm curious too if the rangers assumed, because you guys were just good Samaritans, basically, if they were thinking they'll help her down, because I do think there is a certain point of you're in Baxter State Park, you're at Katahdin. Logistically, as we learned, it's difficult to get someone, even with a concussion, down a trail like that. It's not an easy task. It doesn't matter. It's what you do know. I'm sure they could fly a helicopter there if they had to, but for the fuel, it's sad, but economically, it's for the fuel cost of what it costs to fly a chopper out to Baxter in that area of Maine.
If you can walk out,
that serious? Yeah. If you get to walk out.
Did they ask her, I'm sure they did, do you think you can walk out? Or did they have her do stuff to show that she might be able to walk out?
So at that point, she really couldn't walk very well at all. She needed extremely unstable on her feet. But there was something about the weather, and they couldn't get a helicopter up there.
I don't remember. But we also got lucky. So that's where the second bout of luck came from, where Was it a Friday or a Saturday?
I did not check the days.
I think it was a Friday.
I think it was a Friday.
I think it was a Friday.
Because we got lucky, at least at that time of year, Baxter State Park, they were bringing up some search and rescue people to stay at that campground in case something happened for the weekend, because that's when you have the most hikers.
That's so crazy.
And they were very close to getting to the campground. They were on their way up already.
That's wild.
So what ended up happening, if I recall, is just before we started down, they actually got to the campground. And that's around when I think you guys were getting back as well.
We missed that whole, like, again, it's cool hearing the story because, again, we talked about it when it happened and we're in Baxter, but it's interesting to hear it again. But yeah, I think by that point we like hustled down the Saddle Trail and kind of intermittent. I think we were like talking to you on the walkies, like on and off, but when we got to you guys, from what I recall, is she had been, again, medically evaluated by the Rangers, and like I think she had wrapped up by that point, but I could tell like she had dried blood on her head and stuff. So I'm like, damn, dude, like she took a good whack and met kind of like the daughter and her and stuff, and like heard their story a little bit, and like she was definitely concussed. I could tell that much from just meeting them initially.
Damn.
And yeah, they were like, from what I remember is like we pretty much got there, and I think me and Ash refilled. I refilled water. It's I remember because it was one of the first times I brought a water filter with me. As did you, I think, which was
that was one of the first. It's definitely the first hike I ever actually had to filter water.
Again, proved useful because it was a warm day in the summer. But yeah, we got there and they were kind of like, all right, we have some crew we can send down with you, and then there's going to be some like SAR guys that meet you.
Yeah, I was going to say, didn't the search and rescue people meet us maybe like 30 minutes into the hike down?
Yeah. So I think what I remember happening is they actually got up there right around when we were about to leave, but they needed to they wanted to like refill their water, get some.
They had stuff they needed to do.
Drop some stuff before they started down, but they didn't want her to wait because they knew it was going to be a long hike down.
Because I remember when we first started the hike down, they were not with us. Yeah, it was just the four of us.
I think they might have been up for a training weekend or something like that.
I think one of them was a trainee and the other one was a regular, because the trainee couldn't do anything, right? Once they caught up to us.
Poor guy.
The trainee had to stand back and just watch.
I was asking him questions. He was like, I don't know.
Yeah, we weren't trainees and could do stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that
works. Were there 3 or 4 guys?
When we first started down, the ones that met up with us, it was 2 of them.
Yeah.
2 of them.
And then the second group that came up, there were 3 of them.
Okay.
I recall.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, so what they ended up deciding to do is that first 2 would start helping us down, but in the meantime, they called for more people who were at the bottom of the mountain to start up to meet us at a certain point and swap off to head down.
Yeah, they swapped. I was going to say they swapped off.
So at this point, we're looking at each other and we're like, okay, this woman, she can't carry her backpack.
Right.
So now we got to split up all of our stuff amongst us. Ashley and I were kind of staying back with the daughter, but then Mike and Nick, you guys were arm in arm, walking this woman down the trail. 3 people wide, walking this woman down the trail.
Wow.
And I mean, you guys speak to it. Was she able to really like stand on her own?
I mean, she supported her weight okay, but she was so unstable. She had no balance, right? Yeah. So like we had to just make sure she didn't, take any falls or anything like that.
It's weird thinking about it because to me it was so instinctual. I'm sure Mike probably would agree with that. Where it's like I didn't really think that much. We didn't have enough time to think about it.
No.
Like I'm going to be honest, like. But it gave me a tremendous amount of respect for people that do that. Literally people that sign up for SAR. Like, holy crap!
Can we preface too? So when we started to make our way down, just to like a recap from Chapel Pond, we still had 3 miles to get to the trailhead.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
We did.
3 miles.
Just so people are aware, we weren't close to the trailhead.
I would say we're sometime between 3 and 4 p.m.
It might even
by the time we were able to start going.
It might have even been earlier than that.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I was like,
I get it. It was. What's funny is like none of it. I'm sure if you looked at all of our, even though we had phones, like nobody was taking pictures during that time.
Everything went out the window.
Like I did research before this. I'm like trying to look at time frames. Like there was no pictures I took the entire way down.
Yeah.
Yeah. The adrenaline.
Which makes sense because we were just just doing our thing. Like you're doing what you have to do to help somebody.
I have a question.
Sure.
So these search and rescue guys are with you at this point?
So
like why
Two
is Mike and Nick carrying this woman?
When we first started, they were not with us. So when we first started, they had just gotten to the campground. They had to like filter some water and do some things.
So they're not with you.
But they didn't want her to wait any longer. They wanted her to head down.
They were going to catch up with us.
Correct.
And they did catch up with us descending, which is kind of impressive.
Yeah,
because they were like hiking. I think they were hiking up almost for the two first guys we had with us. I think we were hiking up for literally for like a training weekend.
Yeah,
at Baxter, like they just manned the Chimney Pond campsite, and as sorry guys, they're probably like local firemen or something that just do that out of their good hearts to do it.
So they caught up with you, and then they took over. They carried this woman.
Well,
we're not quite there yet.
Whoa. Yeah, we're not.
But yeah, so those two guys got up. They were just getting up to Chimney Pond when all this is going down.
Starting, yeah.
And then they're like, "Oh, we need to refuel and like
I got that.
Get water, and then we'll meet up with you guys." But yeah, for real, which is it's funny to think in retrospect, but me and Mike literally were helping a concussed woman down a mountain.
With a potential cracked skull.
That's what I'm getting at. There's trained professionals.
She had a
only one trained professional, one trainee.
There's a trained professional, and you guys
were
are
not
like giving this woman the care and
but
taking her down.
We're actually we probably hiked. I would guess we hiked with her down for about a mile.
You think we went? Yeah,
I mean, maybe not that.
I feel like I
30,
actually don't think it was
minutes.
even that far. It was like a half hour, so it was probably honestly
it probably
less
felt
than a half
like
mile.
a long time.
Yeah,
but
considering how long it took us to get down,
it felt incredibly long.
It did.
Which gives me incredible respect for the people that
100%.
the SAR folks that do that.
100%.
Like, holy crap!
It was
like
hard.
You hike with a concussed person down a trail like that, like, and thank God we weren't hiking on a ledge or anything, but it's still just rough.
I mean, you hike in New England, you know what those trails look like.
Yeah, it's rocks and mud.
Yeah,
and from what I remember too,
and it was sunset, not bright out.
No,
necessarily.
not yet. From what I can remember too, you can tell this woman was an experienced hiker because
she had good footing.
Even though she was concussed and she didn't, she wasn't completely with it, I feel like her muscle memory kind of took over, and you could really tell just the way she was navigating the terrain and the rocks. You could tell she had done this before, which was kind of cool.
That
like
definitely
it was
helped, I'm sure.
Yeah,
too.
it helped. Like you could tell she had done this before, and her feet kind of almost like took over for her brain, like kind of like with what to do.
To a degree.
It helped. I do think it helped.
Yeah, like, there was the moment Nick had to hurl his body underneath her. She tripped on a rock. It's not funny. I shouldn't laugh.
We can laugh now. She's fine.
She is fine.
The woman lives. She's good.
So she had stumbled over a rock or something like that, and Nick was on her right side and Mike was on her left side. Going down, and she kind of started to tilt to the right, and then it became a really aggressive tilt, and then all Ashley and I see from behind is just Nick kind of like swan diving underneath her to soften her land on the rocks and the boulders.
I honestly I had a heart attack. I had a heart attack. I was like,
you did swan dive though. You were like, Hua! Just
you could tell you did not put any thought into it.
No,
it was 100% instinct and reaction.
Nope. And it worked out well. Again, it worked out well.
You saved her, yeah.
For her and me, I guess. But like, it was not a thought out thing.
Yeah.
I'm glad it looked good, but it was not a thought out thing.
It looked awesome.
And I'm glad she was like really tipping over, and like I don't want her to whack her head. I guess is what I was thinking at the time.
We were like, whoa, did you see that save?
Ashley was like, oh, hey.
And I think it was shortly after that that the search and rescue guys caught up to us. But that did not let Nick and I completely off the hook because, as we said, one of them was a trainee and he wasn't allowed to help.
Nope.
So we only really got one search and rescue person, and then one of us had to keep.
So I think at that.
Just one in a train.
Oh, why did I think there was?
I was gonna think at that point we swapped off a few times, right?
If I recall, we were kind of swapping. Yeah. If I recall, we were kind of navigating the terrain, and he was staying with her the whole time, and we would jump in when it made sense to swap. Yeah.
I mean, again, it's like instinctual though. It's like I didn't think about it. Like it's not. It's one of those. It wasn't. I try not to be like, oh man, we helped SAR, but it's like we literally just did it because we weren't thinking about it. It's just that's what we were thinking about. We were just trying to help.
And I don't want to even know what it would have looked like had we not helped.
It would have taken them. I'm sure it would have taken them at least a couple hours longer. Like for real,
they probably would have waited for them
to get people up to Chimney Pond and everything else. Because again, what me and Mike were doing was another 2 people, which they didn't have at that time. So, I mean, it was good, right place, right time.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, we stayed with them so long. Well, first of all, it's hiker mentality. Like, you just know as a hiker, when you come across someone that needs help, you just have to help them.
Yeah,
it's just kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So we decided to help them, and we knew going into it, like, okay, we're running low on snacks. There's a pond down there. We can get some water a little later, but this is going to be a long night, so strap in.
And I remember before we got the search and rescue people involved, and we were talking about what happens when we get to the bottom. We were talking about they closed the gates of Baxter at some point. So we were discussing what we would have to do if one of us had to drive her to a hospital somewhere and couldn't get back in and all of that.
You guys are so freaking thoughtful. You guys
really are
so awesung people. Like,
I have such a bleeding heart. I just can't help it. Because I looked at Mike and I was like, we're doing this. And you were like, but...
well, don't make it sound like I was trying to get out of it.
No, you were definitely helping, but you're the practical one. You're like, but okay, well, let's think through this. How many snacks do we have? How much water? Are we going to be a hazard? And I was like, I don't care. We're doing it.
I think my brain was going to, I'm not trained for this. So I'm happy to help, but I'd rather help someone who's trained with it than, help doing it by myself just because I was uncomfortable that I could handle it. But
you handled it.
We handled it.
Boy, did you.
So I think, too, it's like I remember we were getting down, and then the next thing I remember is we were getting down towards like that last, I don't know what that pond is called, but it's below Chimney Pond. It's probably like a mile and a half out. It's probably like almost like one third.
Almost the halfway point.
I went through I was looking through my pictures, and let me see. So in my phone, it says Lily Bay, where that pond was.
I don't know. They could call it Lily Bay, but they should call it just somewhere.
When we got there, the sun was starting to set.
Yeah, it was about 8 o'clock.
It says 7:35 p.m. when I took the picture.
Well, I remember that was the point too. Is like I think the SAR again the two. I don't know if we met the three SAR guys from the bottom. I think came up at that point.
I think they had caught up just before that. They had swapped
out the two SAR guys from the top. Yeah. When we say top and bottom, we mean bottom of the trail, top of the trail.
I know they had swapped out by then because we felt comfortable taking our time to get to. We had to filter water.
Yeah,
we were out of water, and they were able to keep going.
Yeah,
with
but I fully remember like those SAR guys that came up from the bottom being like, "Do you guys have headlamps and water?
If and not, go away."
Because they really, and it was funny too because it was like
they had extras with them. I think they had extra headlamps.
It was one of those necessary gray areas that I respect because it's like they weren't trying to be authoritative with us, but they could tell that like. We had helped her down that far, like me, Mike, and Lorrie and Ash. Like we had been with them for whatever reason. How the worlds collide and whatever circumstances made us cross each other that day, which was kind of cool in retrospect. But it was funny. Like they were like, "Do you guys have headlamps and do you have water?" Like that's the only thing they didn't ask anything else questions. And we're like, Mike's like, "Yeah, I have a water filter." And I actually remember I forgot mine that day. So like you had yours, and one of the guys had a big like a giant like some Nemo water filter. I forget what brand, but like, and you had yours. So I remember literally filtering water that day, and like one of the sickest shots I got of that whole trip was like a reflection of like Baxter Peak, Hamlet Peak across that pond. But it's just funny because it's so like beautiful and not like ominous, but it's like also like that was just the start really.
Yeah. And we were in a rush to filter the water, I remember, because we were like, we need to catch back up.
We don't want to hold them up. And
How far, do you have the stats on how far that pond was from the top, I'll say?
I could look at a map from the top at Katahdin or from
the ranger station at the top where we had started.
I think it was only like I think from that pond to Chimney Pond, that pond to Chimney Pond campsite is like 0.7.
So what's crazy is
we started at 3 p.m.
We started around let's say 3:30, and it was 7:30 when I took that picture.
It took like several hours.
Yeah,
to do that. So and again, that whole hike out was only around like 3-ish miles.
Yeah,
it took us like.
I remember thinking
I wish I had timestamps.
I remember thinking it took us like a mile every 2 hours, if I recall, or averaged anyway.
I remember too looking at like just me and Ash's hike because I had like the Apple Watch at that point. I'm like looking at now like how much elevation gain stuff we did hiking Hamlet Peak and Baxter to that point was like my watch died at some point on the way down. But I'm like it took so long. Again, it's that respect, man. If you do concussed people walking down the trail, is not a joke. But yeah,
So what time did you guys get to the end?
Oh God.
Yeah.
And was the woman still with
We're not
you?
even there yet. There's
yeah,
more
we're not even
there.
there. Yeah, dude.
Jeez,
was
dude.
a fun-
I better buckle in.
There's not even.
Well,
It's gonna be a late
luckily
night.
from this point, once we got to that second pond, there was three search and rescue from the bottom and come down, and they mostly took over from there. We stayed in case they needed our help.
These guys are pretty legit. And,
They were pros.
to say the least. Like one of them like is one of the SAR guys that stays up there in the winter at Katahdin, which is like, for folks that don't know, they close the roads because it starts snowing in October, and you have to cross country ski in there and then hike if you're going to go up and stay at Chimney Pond in the winter and bring your own food. So it's like it's a thing. But anyways, these dudes were like pretty awesome, very interesting to talk to. But they met us once we filtered our water, and they assured they knew that we had headlamps. And they're like, okay, you guys are going to go there. So me and Mike's job from that point on became like leading down the trail a bit and lighting the way.
That's what it was. We were lighting the way. That's right.
Lighting the way. We were like little
and we were still carrying, I think, for
bugs.
stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they had separated out the weight, so we had.
And we were kind of like
up.
trying to comfort the daughter and talk to
Yes.
the daughter and keep her mind off things.
Distract her a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lorrie, you were doing awesome with that.
You did.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
I don't remember what I said. I kind of blacked out at that point, but.
Well, it's so funny too because I feel like we were so hopeful in the beginning of the hike down. Like of course we're starving, so we're
full
talking.
of life.
So we're talking about all the food we're gonna eat when we get back. Oh, we're gonna make burgers and hot dogs, and like I feel like that slowly started to like the expectations got lower and lower. Like okay, when we get back, we'll
Like a Cheez-Its in the
we'll make a sandwich, and we started off with all these plans, and like they just got lower and lower, like of what we were gonna do when we got back.
It's sadder and sadder as time went on.
Yeah, I think we're like, all right, we'll get back. How about we just get back?
No food. We don't need food.
We don't
It's
need
fine.
to eat. It's fine.
Oh no, we needed to eat. We were hungry.
We'll get there. We'll get
hungry.
there about the
Yeah,
food.
I mean, so at this point in the story, I remember two things. One was that there was a radio call that went across being like, it must have been because of the Cordero or like whatever her name was under. They're like, is everybody from this party? Because of how rigid Baxter is, rigid but safe. They're like, are these people down from the mountain? They were hiking Hamlin and Baxter today. Like, we haven't checked their car out.
Yeah, a party of four. We're missing a party of four.
They were like, I still remember hearing that come across the radio, like Cordero party of four, like whatever, or Dickerson party of four kind of deal, like kind of thing. And like, and then the guys are reading back, like they're with us, they're helping out.
We were the only other people who hadn't come down.
They're helping out. They're helping out with the SAR call, which was kind of cool to hear that come across the radio. And also, kudos to Baxter, just that they know everybody and they pay attention to all those people. Like it's pretty sick. Like if you stay there, like they're gonna pay attention. And like some people might be like, oh man, I have to make a reservation, but like they do it for a reason because they really try to make it best for everybody that's there at the time. And they don't encroach on you. Like you can do whatever you want in Baxter. It's a big enough area if you really want to.
They just want to make sure
But
you're safe and you get down safely from what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can you imagine if something had happened to us though, and like at least they would know, hey, we're missing this
4
party.
people.
Yeah,
exactly.
we're missing
Go
these
find
people.
them. Yeah.
And the second thing that I do recall on the way down is that so Mike, you were like, hey, you're like, hey, I think a moth is in my ear, and I'm like, what do you mean? There's not a moth in here, and you're like, no, like I can feel its wings flapping on the inside of my ear canal, and I'm like, what do you mean? And this is a moment of true love, folks, because the stuff and I think Lorrie gagged in that moment too, but like. Yeah, so I'll let you guys take it from there, and I just held the headlamp on the entire thing.
Yeah, I just remember I'm walking down, and all of a sudden, like I feel this tickle in the ear, and then boom! There is a moth inside my ear. It's still alive. It's still fine, but it can't get out.
It's still fine.
It's not going any further in, and it's just flapping its wings.
And keep in mind, we're just trying to light the way for a concussed hiker.
And also, I'm not trying to
helping.
freak out too much because there's a concussed hiker being helped down a mountain
this is
here.
A situation.
Like I needed to temper my anxiety because she was in a much obviously worse situation than I was. Yeah. But I just remember being like, okay, I need to get the tweezers out of my bag, and then it was like, okay, Lorrie, you're up.
Yeah, because you're the only person.
It was obligatory at that point.
Yeah, nope, it's you.
Yeah, so it was the headlamps because it had gotten so dark at that point that with the headlamps, the bugs were flocking to us.
It was my headlamp.
We were attracting all the moths.
I still remember my headlamp looking at Mike's ear.
Oh,
I won't forget it.
So Mike's like, I think there's a moth in my ear.
No, there would.
And we're the three of us are like, okay. Like
Yeah,
at this
all right,
point,
like-
we're exhausted.
Yeah,
we're totally ignoring
it took
it.
like a couple. It probably took a little bit. I don't think it was immediate where it took
No,
you seriously.
and then he's like, look at it.
Yeah,
Look at the
I mean,
moth.
it did take you guys long, but I was very adamant.
yeah, you were
Very
It
adamant.
You
was
were.
bad.
I could tell something was wrong.
Yeah. So you got the tweezers out, and then I'm looking. Nick's holding the light, and I'm looking in your ear canal, and there's a whole ass moth, and it's just
In your ear.
he's just flapping away right in your ear canal. And this is not like a tiny little guy.
No.
This was a large.
And I want to clarify to the listeners, Mike does not have an inordinately large ear canal.
No,
like
it's
not.
pretty small.
It's actually pretty normal or smaller.
Nick's going
maybe than-
around.
You would know better than I would,
Measuring
honestly. You
ear
got a great
canals.
look.
No, but I'm like, how is that? Like, it's like you took the light and you're like, man, it's in a cavern right now. What the hell happened? Like, how did it get in there?
And it was hairy, not your ear. I mean, your ear's a little hairy, but the moth was hairy, so that you could just see like this fuzzy moth just flapping away in
Try
panic.
feeling this fuzzy moth
No,
flapping away.
I still remember Mike being like, I can feel it flapping in my ear. I'm like,
You can-
okay,
you can
that's
see
the
it.
problem. Let's stop.
So we get the tweezers, and I pull it out, and then it just flies away.
The kicker.
Yeah,
on
no
its
moths
life.
were hurt in the
No.
the creation of
He
the
was
story.
fine. He flew right away. The kicker to all this story is all the Maine SAR guys were like, "Oh yeah, that happens to me all the
happens.
time." They're like,
Yeah, they weren't phased at all.
Oh yeah, that happens.
They were
No
like,
big
yeah, that's
deal.
just
Like,
another
We're
Friday
like
night.
over here gagging about a moth in your ear. And
Don't
they're
be a
like,
wimp
"That's
about
fine."
it. That happens to me 7 times a season. It's all good.
And that was really the peak, I'll say.
It was.
Yeah, I remember that-
it was.
that made
well,
for-
no, the
that made-
peak was still to come because it wasn't long after that one of us, I don't remember who it was, remembered that there are bears in Baxter State Park, and therefore we had the cooler in the car, and therefore we didn't have to wait till we got back to camp to have dinner. I think we
Oh, it was
realized
like a
that about a
mile,
half a mile before
Yeah.
we got to the
Yeah.
end, and our spirits
The
rose
despair kind of lifted a little
so
bit.
much.
Oh, yeah.
No,
Yeah,
we didn't have a
the food's in
half-hour
the
ride back to
car.
camp
Yeah.
before we could
Yeah,
take
because keep in mind when
They were
we
like,
got
we're like, there's we were all like about like we're gonna make. It started as like because I think we brought shaved steak with us. I don't know why I remember that.
You're
But
gonna
anyways.
make steak
But it's like,
and
yeah,
cheeses.
we're like, we're gonna do steak and cheese sandwiches and stuff. And then it degraded to like, we're gonna make burgers because like Mike had burgers. And it was like, we're gonna get back to the car and make like, just like
Cold
turkey.
sandwiches.
I'm gonna eat the raw steak. I'm gonna eat it.
But
I'm gonna eat it.
we were so hungry. You're talking like we woke up at probably like 4 o'clock and we finished it like, it had to be like,
After midnight,
It
right?
was
Yeah, 1 o'clock.
between 11:30 and 12:30. I don't remember exactly where.
almost 1 o'clock in the morning. So it's like you're out all day in the sun and just drinking water. That's all the first time I ever ran out of food in my food bag.
Yeah,
That day.
same.
Wow.
Same. And I
Wow.
always bring extra food.
I
But
still had food with me, but I didn't want it. I was like, I do not want trail
I know-
mix
oh,
right
yeah.
now.
No more nuts.
I guess-
No,
No more
I'm done
nuts
with
and
this.
raisins.
I'd rather be starving than eat more trail mix.
As-
Like,
As my late dad would say, I guess you weren't hungry enough.
I always thought the
My
amount of
dad
food
would
I
say
brought.
that too.
just the idea of
Dads.
eating more trail mix, I was like, I can wait. I'll wait.
You have no appetite for it at that point.
No.
Yeah.
But with the amount of food I always brought, I always thought I could do like 3 days hikes, but I never realized that
If you get stuck
I
out
probably had 3 days worth if, sometime around 2 o'clock I got hurt and I was stuck on the mountain for 3 days. But you keep moving, you keep eating, and
Yeah.
it went real fast.
I want to say too, like even with the like, I feel like you could keep calling her the concussed hiker, but the concussed hiker, I feel
Do you
like
have this woman's
I give
name?
her, like,
Do you
a
guys
if
have
you're
like-
listening, we do not remember your names. We're so sorry.
No, we're sorry.
Did you exchange information with this woman?
Lorrie,
too?
you did with
Lorrie-
your daughter,
Lorrie
Yeah, I
did.
right?
got
point.
a phone number, and I never saved it.
Yeah,
She didn't
this is
you
tw-
texted her
us,
once and she
though?
Did
replied,
text.
and then that was about it.
Yeah, I
right?
think the next
Yeah.
morning she had
Okay.
reached out and said that she was
to be
fine.
fair, if you had arrested me off a mountain, I probably wouldn't want to talk to you again.
I felt weird about it. I couldn't be
mean?
like, do you want to add me on Instagram?
Find me
Follow adventuristic.
Here we go.
Follow now.
You can get a free T-shirt.
New design coming
No,
soon.
that woman needs to pay full price. She got a free ride down the mountain.
Yeah. She
also-
walked and I remember too, like that final, it had to be like the final mile and a half, like that stretch after we filtered water, like she stopped many times. And
Yeah.
It
was
got
like, hey,
she
dude,
got like slower and slower.
she
as
would
it went.
because
Yeah,
and
she's
like they
getting
kept
worse.
I remember
Yeah.
too, like the SAR guys were super good about being like asking her questions and stuff with her daughter and be like,
What
hey, like
year is it?
where are
Who's
you, like
president?
what are you
Yeah.
doing and stuff like that. But that was almost stuff too where I'm like, I wouldn't know to do that if I was hiking someone concussed down. I'd just be like, let's get down. But they were really conscious of like, hey, like, are you still... Again, because they didn't know, like you said, to come back on her head.
Well, yeah, what were they going to do, though?
We might have had to... So the reason that we had decided to stay with them is because we were concerned because she was so unsteady on her feet that they would have to carry her out.
Yeah.
They didn't know how...
They never decided to just carry her out?
No. Nope.
Okay.
I mean, it might be a thing, too. It's like you think, like, on a mountain like that, like, they know exactly what's going on. But all they knew is, again, because people are concussed when that happens, all they knew was that she had basically a head wound. She might have
They didn't know
cracked
the
part
full
of her
extent
skull.
of her injuries.
She didn't know how bad she hit her head, but I remember there's blood like on the side of you remember people seeing blood down the side of their head and their neck and stuff. Like she hit her head hard enough, like it was that, but it's like they were trying to do the best they can.
I wonder if this woman's a listener to the podcast.
So I do remember, I was going to say this earlier. I do remember she was from Alaska.
Was she really?
Yeah, pretty sure. I don't know why I have that in my head.
Well, if she's listening, reach out. Let us know.
But I don't know.
We'll have you on the podcast.
Like you were saying, Nick, though, I was super impressed by just, like, not only how they were able to, like, physically help her, but I feel like they must have some type of a, like, psychological, I don't know, some type of empathy training, because I also feel like they were so diligent about, it felt like every 5 to 10 steps she took, they were, like, not only asking her questions and checking in with her, but they were reassuring her. Mm-hmm. Like, I remember, I almost, like, there were a couple times where I think it was just because I was so tired and just, like, emotionally
they did it, like,
spent, where I almost, like, started to cry just because of how they were speaking to her.
They did it, like,
they were, like...
I want to say, like, every 15 minutes, or, like, they were looking at their watches. Like, I vividly remember that. Like, they had a time set of, like, being like, hey, but it's a normal concussion check, and, like, because you don't know, like, again, like, they didn't know, like, how bad.
Well, can I just say, like, so as far as just, like, speaking to her, like, how they were being kind to her, like, I was so impressed by that, where they would say her name a lot, and they were like, you got this, you're doing so well, look at you, you're doing great, if you need a break, like, let us know, we can stop, do you need to use the bathroom, do you need more water, do you need something to eat, like, they were, like, so good with, like, it's almost like they were constantly talking to her in some way.
For us, too, they kept checking on us.
Yeah, and then they were,
okay?
so, and I mean, I feel like not only helping somebody physically down a mountain, but also having to, like, then just making sure everybody in the group is good, and especially the woman is good. Like, that's a lot. That takes a lot of effort to constantly be doing that.
No, I don't think they did, considering the fact that
I don't think so.
Yeah, I think
could they?
It's
you guys
funny.
Did half the work.
Yeah. No, but I get that. I think me and Mike are cut from the same cloth in that degree. Where, like, I always feel like we don't want to burden anybody with shit. So it's like, but I think when the moment that we were like, do you guys have more water, and do you have headlamps? I think at that point they were pretty glad to have us.
Yeah.
Well, and I think, too, if they felt like we were being a burden or not helpful, they would have not hesitated to just be like, we got this, guys. They would have probably politely been like, you guys just go ahead.
At that point, too, we'd helped them a pretty good way down the mountain. And I almost think it was a familiarity thing of, like, they knew us a little bit, like, the and the daughter.
It probably was helpful.
Lorrie helping
for
with the daughter
Sure.
too.
Yeah. And we were all part of the same.
And they had a pretty crazy life story. We don't have to go into it, but I remember them having, like, quite the story.
Yeah, that could be another podcast.
Like, the daughter had, like, I don't know.
To round after Mike's moth incident, we did make it back eventually. After people, like, on the walkies trying to look for our party and stuff, thinking we were lost ourselves. But we made it back to the parking lot, and I remember making the best turkey and cheese sandwich with mayo that I've ever eaten in my life.
Oh my god, that sandwich!
It was complete silence. I mean,
I just remember. We were just in the car. We just made sandwiches out of the cooler.
Complete silence.
Now, mind you, this is a dirt road. It's about 1.5 car lengths wide.
Thank you again to Mike to drive
30 minutes back to camp in the pitch dark, and I'm just like, can someone keep me awake over here? But it was rough, but the food definitely helped.
Oh my god, that was like the best sandwich I've ever had in my life.
The best, like, vanilla sandwich I've ever had. The most plain, boring sandwich. It was amazing.
I mean, you had mayo. At least, you had mayo, cheese.
I didn't have enough mayo. But
So fantastic.
I will say too, as someone who loves to camp, I'm a terrible sleeper in a tent on the ground. It was the best night's sleep I've ever had in a tent in my life.
Oh my god, yeah.
We got back to the campsite, and by this point, we've all been in our clothes for 16 hours, 18 hours, something like that.
Something like that.
So it's like, okay, who's got the stream first? And then you just go and you kind of rip all your clothes off and you throw some water on you from the stream, and then it's like, okay, night.
Honestly,
I'm
that
gonna go pass out.
like bath in the stream was heaven.
The ice cold stream, it was.
Oh my god! And yeah, because the water was cold, but it felt so good.
I would have gotten it.
Yeah,
I would have gotten it.
Oh, I was like straight up sitting in it,
I
like
did.
I was basking in that stream in the pitch black.
Yeah, I think you guys went down first, and me and Nash went down. I think I want to get too weird, but it wouldn't even matter. Like everyone was so tired, nobody would have given. Nobody would have cared.
You stay in your corner.
And it was so
I'll stay in
dark.
mine.
Yeah.
No, you
We
couldn't
able
even
to each
barely
other
see in
anyway.
front of you.
Yeah.
I think we had our headlamps on just to like get us there, and then that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we went down. It's funny. I always remember, like, as listeners probably would gather from my Instagram post by now, but it's like I remember looking at photos someday at that point because I was just starting to get into photography a little bit and like looking at it and like then the next thing I remember it was morning.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I blacked out at some point on that hike. Like, there's at
It was
some point
so
your brain
long.
just kind of stops
Yeah,
absorbing
I, like,
what's
vaguely,
going on.
I remember getting to the parking lot and like I remember the SAR guys thanking us, and I remember we got shouted out and like they do like weekly bulletins if we ever look for those at Baxter State Park.
Oh,
I'm
that's
sure
right,
Naturally,
yeah.
they ask for our names and stuff, which I haven't looked up yet, but I'm sure we're on there.
Yeah.
And so I remember that night, needless to say, we crashed, and then the next day went to Little Able Falls near our campground, which is pretty sick.
I'm
That
telling
was
you
fun.
that dip in that cold water at the bottom of that falls the next day after that was fantastic.
Invigorating.
I think it was a wimp, and I didn't go in at first. Then you went in, and you're like, it's not that cold.
It
I'm
was
like, I'm gonna go
frigid.
It was
not
very,
that
very cold,
I
but it
think
was
you
so
had to wait
comfortable
for your
once you got
body
into
to
it.
just become
Yeah.
numb, and then you were
It
fine.
was-
And
Yeah,
we
that
had it
was
to
great.
ourselves, which was awesome.
Yeah, it was sick. Yeah,
That was a
and
fun
then, we chilled out that day. Then remember me, Mike, and Ash did North Brother, New England 67. I don't remember a bunch about this. I'll be honest. Like I think it's because we were so exhausted. We were
What a
probably
weekend.
still really exhausted.
Yeah, what a weekend.
I actually
Still
remember it
exhausted.
pretty well. I remember it being pretty a good climb to start, and then it got this nice mellow section.
Yeah. You go by
and
like
I
a
remember
pond or something.
that trail in that section. I remember thinking how much Lorrie would like it because it was just extremely moss covered.
I do love it
on
in
both
moss
sides
trail.
of the trail. It was a really
Yeah.
beautiful piece of trail.
Yeah, I've seen
and
your
then you're right.
pictures
There was
from
a
that. It's
then we hit the
Yeah, that was a fun
pond
day.
around that, and then it was pretty steep up to the top of
North Brother.
a ridge above the pond. Then it
Yeah.
flattened out again, and then the final climb to
Yeah, I
North
think
Brother
that
was pretty steep.
Yeah, I remember it being pretty steep.
Yeah,
until
it was
so.
3 distinct, very steep sections with some flat around it, if I recall
See,
correctly.
remember
I
that
feel
being-
like I remember nothing of that hike.
I remember the
you
view.
were there. I can assure you.
I was there.
The
but-
view from North Brother, I remember
Wasn't
being
really there.
fantastic.
Yeah.
The view back to Katahdin
Yeah, you
was
could see
really,
that.
really
Yeah,
beautiful.
like the backside of like Hamlin to your left, and then Baxter Peak, and it was like one of those like cloudy, overcast days, but like the
Yep.
clouds were just high enough that you could still see Baxter Peak.
Honestly, it's funny you guys say that because honestly, it's one of my favorite hikes. I loved that hike.
Dude,
it
that
was
was-
really,
It was
really
a lot
great.
of fun. I do
Yeah.
remember having fun.
So,
but
I don't remember.
really
I
remember
remember
the
a decent
details.
amount, but it was just like I think we were just tired and chilling.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
think-
yeah.
We're in Baxter State mode at that point. I think if you stay in Baxter State Park for like 2 or 3 days, you're just like,
Yeah.
you're chilling.
I don't know. And I think too, when we got to the summit, you guys were like taking pictures and like talking to some of the other hikers up there. And I think I just found a comfortable rock and laid down and closed my eyes. I don't think I fell asleep, but I
Wasn't
just
there
kind of.
a trail
I
from the
just
top
hung
of there
out.
to another New England 100 or so?
Yeah, there's like Co Peak, which is another New England 100 highest. Thank you for reminding me. I wanted to mention that too, but yeah, there's definitely a few peaks around there in the New England 100 highest that you can check out. I'm sorry, listeners, because I didn't look up the exact approximations of where they are, but
Failure. Just kidding.
I'm sorry, Lord, I disappointed you.
That's
But yeah,
a
they're-
perfect point to put in a Nick's little add-in moment.
a Nick's add-in moment.
Yeah.
What's the
Nick's
next
little factoid.
What's my factoid?
You just pop it in after we're done recording the episode.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, I could do that. Where I stop the episode and I'm like,
Yeah.
It would actually be funnier if you don't do that and then you just leave this conversation right here.
I might just do that. We'll see. We'll have to give it maybe a week, and you'll find out what actually happens. But yeah, we did that. That hike was super cool. Like I remember we drove, and again, like you just feel like you're in the middle of nowhere. But it's at that point, I feel like I was losing appreciation already for like how beautiful Baxter is, because you're just in the wilderness, and like we definitely got immersed in that whole thing. And that
Oh, we were
that
in
hike
it.
going
Yeah.
up Katahdin, it was pretty sick. And then on the, I believe it was the 9th that we actually rode home, and again, like from where we live. I know there's people in New Hampshire that complain about like, oh, like I have a 2-hour drive up to the Whites or whatever, or Maine, or 3-hour drive up to Maine, but it's like we had like a 6-hour drive up to
It was a
Baxter
long day.
from where we live, and
Yeah.
like at the time, North Providence, Rehoboth kind of area. Yeah.
No, we were in Rehoboth. Oh,
Yeah.
you said North Providence, Rehoboth. Sorry.
Yep.
They were in North Providence.
But yeah, a long ride up there, so it was you really feel like you're out in the middle of nowhere, but it was so beautiful. I still, one of my favorite memories ever is like chilling out at Little Falls with you guys. Like for real. It was just, that was such a fun day.
Yeah, I was so sore that day that it was like an ice bath.
Yeah, it was a good little hike to it too. Yeah, it was like mile and a half, but it was like it wasn't too
up and down.
Up and down. It wasn't super.
It was a relatively flat. It was a hike you could do in flip flops and a bathing suit.
Yes.
Yeah, see, I don't think we had like hiking boots on.
No, we did
not.
I was wearing Crocs.
So.
I was like, I refuse to wear hiking boots today.
My feet won't allow it.
No.
Yeah, I think that concludes our Baxter State Park experience. I highly encourage anybody, even if you're not even working on New England 67, to go to Baxter State Park because it's just a sick place. It's so beautiful and it's wild. We did like a minute portion of what you can do there between kayaking and hiking and like all the other jazz. I remember I brought my fishing pole there thinking I was going to trout fish at some point during this. It's just like so.
You had some lofty goals.
So stupid. Josh is laughing because he's like, that's so on brand for Nick to be like thinking he's going to do more things than he does because that's just what I do. But yeah, it was just beautiful up there.
Well, you also didn't expect to be part of a search and rescue, I'm sure.
To be fair, we did not expect that. So, any final comments on our Baxter State Park trip?
What did
except when are we going again?
We're going again once I've completed the rest of the New England 67.
When Rowling gets
That's
old enough. That's a
pretty epic one to finish on.
We'll do it different though the next time. We'll go up, we'll camp at Chimney Pond, and then we'll
try not to get in the star rescue portion. I don't want to sound like a dick because like I would absolutely participate again, but I would
not by choice.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want anyone to need to be helped off a mountain.
That's my thing. Is like I'd rather nobody get injured that day, so we can just like everybody can enjoy their day.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Fair enough.
And we can eat cheeseburgers or whatever we were planning that originally that night.
Before it's dark. Before it's dark.
Before a moth flies in the mic's ear.
Never again, I hope.
Yeah.
I'll get it out though.
Good job,
be happy
guys.
about it.
Yeah, that was awesome.
You should have written that into like your vows.
But I can't say that I would do it again. I mean, I'd definitely do it again, but like I don't want to admit to doing it again. Yeah, that was a whole level of disgusting. I don't ever want to discuss.
I know. I was there and I almost vomited.
I don't know who had a better view, you or Nick.
I think I had the best view.
I don't think I saw it. I think I was just like, I'm gonna hang back here. You guys got this.
I remember going like adjust.
I will
There's no video on this
places
podcast, but
with either one of you next time.
Nope.
Nose goes.
It's me, guys. According to the noses, but yeah, man. Well, I want to thank you guys for coming on again, but I think Josh wanted to include you in the hypothetical because you're just such good guests.
Oh, there's a hypothetical.
Yeah, there's hypothetical. Oh, Ashley's excited.
Yeah.
All right.
She's like, I'm here still.
Yeah.
Ash is re-engaged.
Let's get into the descent.
Now, Mike, to preface this, neither Mike or I have heard these before, so I have no idea what we're getting into right now.
It's just like a crazy scenario, and like, what would you do?
Yeah, crazier than a rescue off a mountain?
Yes.
Okay, hit me with it.
It's like, not that crazy.
It's very outlandish scenario.
Before we get into that, we're gonna do the plugs. So let's get into the descent, and we'll do Lorrie, do you want to plug Adventuristic one more time?
Yeah, I'm always going to plug
listeners.
Adventuristic. So follow me on Instagram. It's Adventuristic, @Adventuristic. ADVENTURISTIQ. That's also my website, www.adventuristic.com. If you go to the website, you can join the email list, get 15% off your first order, and free shipping all the time. So go support your, small businesses, your female-run businesses and designers, and get some good shirts.
I'm so happy to have you on the as a partner on the podcast. So we appreciate that.
I'm excited to be here. You guys, thanks for asking us to do this, and this is great. Love it.
Mike, where can the people find you?
Well, if you want to find me on Twitter and see the random Dallas Cowboys things I might retweet, you can find me at mcudero73. Also, same handle on Instagram. There you might find more interesting things like my hiking photos and such. So.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Sweet.
He occasionally makes an appearance on Adventuristic as well.
Occasionally.
I've seen that.
Usually
I am now a professional model.
Well, Well, it might be all of us, I think.
Yes,
Oh, yeah,
all of us are now professional.
If you want
Josh
to
is
be,
next.
if you
I'm
want to be
next.
technical about
I'm
it.
next. If you want your sales to go up, you put me on the
That's
the
right.
page.
Listen, why didn't I know that from day one?
These guys, they don't want to tell you. They don't want to tell you the truth.
That's the secret sauce. Got it.
So, you all ready to get into a hypothetical?
Hypothetical.
Hypothetical.
I'm like hypothetical or hypothetical?
The name of the game is hypotheticals.
All right. Hypothetical.
All right, let's do this.
This is a real game, too.
This is a real game. Chuck your cluster.
And you win nothing.
All right. Nick and others.
Josh!
And others. You come home from an afternoon of shopping, expecting your residence to be empty. However, upon entering your front door, you immediately sense that something is strange. The entire place smells like marijuana and roses. We didn't even get to the best part. There is a brief... Easy.
Frank wants to know why
Easy,
it smells
Frank.
like marijuana
Easy,
and
Frank.
roses.
Frank's like, marijuana and roses sounds
Easy,
like
Frank.
a good time.
I'll pet you and calm me down, buddy.
There's
It's okay.
so
it's all good.
There's a briefcase sitting in the middle of your living room floor filled with diamonds and Christmas cookies.
What the
I told you this was a good one.
The weirdest one you could find.
You can hear the shower running,
Oh.
and when you open the door to the bathroom, you realize the man that is in the shower is basketball legend Shaquille O'Neal. Okay.
Oh my god. So intricate.
A naked Shaq peers at you from behind the shower curtain and smiles enthusiastically, but says nothing. He then returns to washing himself.
Oh.
When you ask O'Neal what happened, when you ask O'Neal what he is doing in your home, he simply says, "I don't remember." So the question is, do you call the police? So you walk into... I would give you the quick rundown.
Josh couldn't even do it.
There was a lot to unpack
I
there.
would give a quick rundown.
Holy crap.
You walk into your home. Smells like marijuana and roses. Okay? You find a briefcase filled with diamonds and Christmas cookies. The shower is running. Basketball legend, what is he, four-time NBA champion Shaquille O'Neal?
Yeah.
Shaquille O'Neal's in your shower. Doesn't remember why he's there. Now you have to figure out whether or not you're calling the police.
I'm not going to touch this one at all.
Yeah, I'm not
I'll let
calling the
someone know.
police.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Not at all.
It's
Yeah.
Shaq.
It's Shaq. Yeah, you're gonna call
I'm not calling the police.
No, I
I'm
wouldn't call
going
the
to
police.
Dick's and buying 8 basketballs for him to sign.
Yeah.
You're
Like-
leaving the house because
Well,
I'm
that's
gonna
fair,
like partake
yeah.
in the edibles and the weed and the roses and the sugar cookies.
I mean, there might
And
be
ask
a
a few
lighter
questions.
assortment of diamonds in that briefcase by the time he gets back to it, but I'm
And it's
not
not
calling
like
the police.
he's doing anything illegal or violent.
I mean,
he
he's
I have
broken
some
into
questions.
your home.
True,
I have some
but
questions about the diamonds
he's not
as
doing
well, but he
anything
can
that's
afford
putting
them,
you in
so.
immediate
Yeah.
danger.
I think the real question is what is the next thing that happens? Like when Shaq is done showering himself off, okay, and he comes into your living room and you're sitting there looking at the briefcase. What happens next? Like if he's just like chill about it, then yeah, I'm probably gonna be chill about it too.
Can I put an audible here?
Yeah, go ahead.
Throw it right at you. So what if Charles saw that?
Charles.
Can we get a little Charles right now? Charles taking that?
Who's the peeping Tom over here? That guy. Wow. Can a man take a shower in peace? That's crazy. That is That's terrible. This guy in my bathroom. And then you tell him, like, Charles, you're in my bathroom. No way. That's crazy. But yeah, no, you can't call the cops. You can't call the cops on
Can I
Shaq.
ask a question, though?
Yeah.
Can't call the cops.
Was the briefcase open, or am I opening
No,
this
you
and
opened
discovering the
it. Yeah,
marijuana and the... or-
No,
okay.
it's diamonds and Christmas.
Diamonds and...
cookies.
Okay,
Yeah.
can I have a cookie at least?
Yeah.
All right.
I think
It's
you
in
can have
your
a diamond or
house.
two,
Yeah.
too.
Yeah,
Are they
That's-
special cookies? Or these are regular sugar cookies?
They can be whatever.
mean,
They're just Christmas.
we're
I
not-
mean, they're
Marijuana
Christmas
and
cookies,
roses,
so they're
so-
already magical.
I think I'd probably offer him a sandwich when he got out of the
Shaq?
shower. Yeah,
Shaq
I'd be
needs, like,
"You
7
want something to
sandwiches."
eat?" and then we just kind of chill on the couch for a little bit, and
I mean, I think as long as he
Chit-chat.
eventually leaves, I'd be cool with it.
Shaq, what are you
I
doing?
mean, it's Shaq. He doesn't have to leave.
right?
What's the Shaq and Ice?
I don't have a bed nearly large enough for him, though,
Yeah.
so...
Does he want to be my roommate? Because
Yeah.
he can pay the mortgage.
Yeah.
Shaq, what are you doing here? I don't know. I don't know how I got here.
I don't know, man.
You want to say
Why are you asking Shaq? Why are you asking Shaq so many questions?
Shaq don't know.
You could ask him if he wants to watch Shazam.
I know. Oh, yeah. I would love to watch Kazam with Shaq.
Oh, Kazam, not Shazam.
Yeah, that's the fake movie.
I
That's,
don't really like myself in
Kazam.
that, but
The real
love
question,
Shaq.
how many rooms in your house can Shaq stand up in?
none. Oh, me.
like 6, 7?
No, he's 7'2".
He's like
No.
7'2".
Yeah, say he's over
Yeah.
7
Oh,
feet.
neighbor.
good lord.
I think most seasons are like 7'3" 7'6".
It will be close.
I would definitely if he feels comfortable enough to take a shower in your home too, like he's definitely down to chill. Like he's gonna hang
For
out.
sure.
Yep.
He's gonna hang out.
Well,
You're
put
gonna
it
have
this way,
several
I would
sandwiches.
not.
Would you
if-
call other people, not call the police, but would you call anybody
Ooh.
to have them come over and join?
Oh.
No.
Once again, I think it would depend on what
No.
Shaq's vibe is when
Yeah.
he's out of that shower.
I'm with you on that one, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would not. I'd be like,
Yeah, I
this is
don't
a
know.
moment, and
Yep.
I'm in it. So
It's just you and Shaq.
I don't want to share.
And that's how I met Shaq.
And that's how I met Shaq. Yes.
It's just in my bath.
Coming up on the next episode of PUDs Podcast.
Oh man.
Good song.
All right, guys. Anything else?
I don't know. I think we already talked about Adventuristic. Check them out.
Yeah.
Follow us on all the socials at PUDs Podcast.
At PUDs Podcast on all the social medias. Like, review, subscribe,
Facebook. Check us out.
share us with a friend. And yeah, check out Adventurous.
Yeah, and we have stickers. I keep forgetting to plug those.
Yeah.
Don't, again, we're getting low.
Nope, I got them. I gotta
one.
bring you some.
Well, I could do some new graphics.
Yeah, well, we need a new picture.
Yeah.
You should do a
plenty
new
of
picture.
pictures.
Well, maybe
I know a
Lorrie
photographer.
can
I'll
make
draw
us
you
a new
one. There you
logo.
go.
Yeah.
Nick's gonna do my
Ooh.
jingle, and I'll draw you a
That
new
would
logo.
be sick.
I'm gonna do a jingle.
Yeah, you're gonna be the
Wait,
jingle.
what? Adventuristic. It's the best thing to do.
That might be it. That might be it.
It's
No.
got to be really catchy though.
Oh
You
man.
gotta put some
No, we
effort
can do
into
something
it.
better than that.
Yeah, that's
We can do
good.
something better than that. But yeah, man.
All right,
Check
guys.
us out. Thanks again,
Yeah.
Mike and Lorrie, for joining us. It's
Thanks
been a
for having
pleasure.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
We're gonna have you back real soon.
Yeah, thank you
Talk
guys
about
so
the next
much.
crazy adventure.
Yeah.
Talk about high peaks.
Yes.
Yeah, what's
high?
the-
And when we say high peaks, we mean not Adirondack high
Aye.
peaks. We mean the actual high peaks.
So we're gonna have to bury the lead on that one until next time.
Yep. Yeah, we'll see what happens. But
Dun dun
happens soon.
dun.
All right, guys. Until next time. Bippity boppity. Give me the zoppity.
And 1, 2, 3. Bye. Lorrie, bye.
Bye.
Oh, good stuff. Good stuff.
PUDs Podcast was produced and recorded in Black Cat Studios by the Pud Boys. Find us on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. If you enjoyed, please consider leaving us a review and subscribing. Find us on social media, and we'll see you next time.